father is a narcissist who keeps creating family drama. I want to rat him out to his new family.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Practice family exposed. Sorry if this is really long, but it is a lot to unload. I didn't really know what option to post this under, so I'm just doing it as family drama.
Love the tea.
Love the tea. When I was very young and even in high school, I thought my dad was wonderful and that I couldn't ask for a better dad. It is only now looking back that I realize he was a huge narcissist and a-hole, and my dad actually was and still is. By the way, this comes from Grace9525 on the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So all the ages listed below are the current ages and names have been changed. So my dad's currently 67. Here's a list of the short synopsis of things for context that he did when we were younger, and then we will get into things that have happened in the last 5 years. So he would tell my aunts, Ruth, female 65, and Minna, female 57, that one had said something about the other and turned them against each other, and they would constantly fight about things that had never even happened, but that my dad had just told them both that had happened. I remember the Christmas after both my great-grandmothers. One lived to be 100 and the other to 103. Well, good news, OP, you're going to live for a long time. Bad news is your family drama is going to last a century. They passed away and they got into a fight so bad that my grandma came into the room I was in and she was crying horribly and asked why they couldn't just get along. Oh, I didn't know what to tell her as I was only 17 at the time. He would also abuse towards my Aunt Ruth, both mentally and physically at times. One time he tried to punch her in high school and ended up punching through a window when she ducked. Oh my God. Jeez. We also found out that he had been telling my mom and us kids similar things about his family and them about us. Again, kind of like the turning people on each other vibe that he's on.
Yeah. Manipulating everyone.
Manipulative, thus making us all feel uncomfortable around each other and sometimes causing my mom to think that my aunts and grandma hated her. After the conversation,
I hate people that do that, where it's like, did you hear what your grandma said about you? Did you hear? It's pretty terrible.
And it's all lies.
I didn't want to tell you. You know, I don't like to stir up trouble, but you know, I feel like it was my God-given duty to let you know the truth.
I love stirring up trouble.
Yeah, that's what I think about it. They're glassy eyes.
This isn't really a conspiracy theory, but he's turning everyone against each other so he can get away with the dirty deeds he's doing.
Yeah, no, pretty whack.
Pay attention. So after the conversation where we figured all of this out and my grandma cut him off, so basically found out what he was doing, my grandma told my mom that she was my grandparents' child more than he was. He's like, yo, your wife? That's more my kid than you. You ain't my kid. I gave birth to you, but you ain't my kid.
Oh my God. Big yikes, dude.
Big freaking yikes.
Big yikes.
Now, while my siblings and I were growing up, me, female 41, sister, female 38, and brother, male 32, he repeatedly told my brother that he was not wanted as, quote, I wanted to divorce your mother after your second sister was born, but was talked into waiting and then into trying one more time for a boy because I needed someone to carry on the family name. And then there's that BS.
Jesus.
So you are only here because I was forced into it.
Jesus.
You tell your son that?
Oh my God.
Dude.
Oh my God.
You're just wishing for a villain. That literally.
His villain arc is really going terribly. Also, Kimberly Fine, Granny's a real one. That's true. Granny knew what time it was. She cut him off for a good reason. This really messed up my brother, and he had a lot of behavioral issues all throughout his childhood and his teen years due to this, and only realized his true worth once he met his wife, and her dad accepted him and started treating him as a son, and that he could be loved and accepted for who he was. Wow. Took his wife's dad to, basically become his father. That we know of, he cheated on my mom with men from around 2008 to 2014, when they got divorced, including a long-term relationship with Alex during and after his time in Chicago. I have no problem with him being bi. My problem was the fact that he cheated on my mom when she thought that they were in a monogamous relationship and only wanted to be in that type of relationship. Is he going to play the homophobic card when she's like, you're a freaking cheater? And he's like, well, I just love men.
Well, I thought you would accept me.
Thought you'd be open-minded and progressive.
Yeah.
I am so confused by this story.
But you're not. This man sucks. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
that's all anyone needs to know.
Polly rights.
dude.
Continued to use dating apps even while him and my mom were in therapy. Oh my God.
Yeah, I actually see Henry's like 3 feet away. I gotta go to the bathroom really quick.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, I gotta check this. Oh, I got a little video from Henry.
Rob, didn't you use the bathroom 3 minutes ago?
Sidebar: when I was in Mexico, one of my friends was on
That app.
that app. You know, like when you grind the coffee beans.
Oh yeah.
And a guy was like literally sent him a video of him giving head unprompted to show what the head experience would be like, and said, "Want some head,
Dude.
So just saying that this guy could have been like cheating in mass.
Yeah.
Like when you're on that app, man, it
Multiple times a day.
falling from the sky.
Just running up the numbers, baby.
It's like when you get those like giant bags of like hot dogs that you cook on the grill. Imagine that, but just throwing that entire bag every second. Just boom, boom, boom.
It's raining dogs.
Yep.
Hallelujah.
Remember Bali?
Yeah. Oh man, I haven't thought about him in a while.
There might be one person who will be able to decipher that.
Wow.
But anyways,
How is he?
Last time I talked, he's great. He's doing great.
that's good.
Yeah. Is he still abroad?
I don't know. Honestly, I'll hit him up right now. No.
That'd be
Yeah, we're thinking about you.
So,
Wow.
that's a great throwback. Yeah.
Man.
Anyways, I'm gonna get back to the story.
So many chapters.
Sam's gonna go down memory lane
Oh,
too
dude,
hard.
I am. I'm reminiscing.
He's gonna bring us too far off.
Oh, jeez.
So, even told the therapist that he did not understand why he couldn't have relations with others, especially men, since my mom was a woman. Hey, I'm not cheating on her. I'm not sleeping with other women. It's all good. After divorce, he moved in and then left 2 different women with the rent/mortgage on the houses that they had rent/bought together. This man just keeps getting better. He then tells us that he's engaged to a woman from the Philippines who is younger than both my sister and I. He's trying to get the worst father of all time bingo.
Golly.
He's doing well. He's doing
This
well
is
at
the
claiming
most
that title.
horniest man I've ever seen in the Reddit.
Bro is unstoppable. He's like, if you breathe, I want you. That's what Opie's dad said.
You.
We were all worried about this at first, as we got worried that she was only marrying him to get a green card. I actually had a chance to work with her for about a year in a place where my dad wasn't around to influence my opinion or hers. And she is a wonderful person, and I have nothing but respect for her, but I still refer to her as my dad's wife only because she's younger than me. It's giving 90 Day Fiance.
Yikes.
It's giving big head. The wife, the super young wife, did ask me once if the family hated her, and I told her that no one hated her. We had just been worried because of the age difference, but that I would make sure to let everyone know what she was really like when my dad wasn't around. It didn't occur to me until much later, which I will be up in the story around that time, that I finally realized it, that my dad could be telling her that we all hated her, because remember, he does that.
Mm-hmm.
Next point. Once remarried to Leah, continued using dating apps for flings. My man can't stop.
Why
won't
is
stop.
anyone marrying this guy? Why?
Even though he knows Leah does not like it when he does this, he even complains about the fact that Leah's jealousy is why he can't have any more male friends around. Oh my God.
Oh.
Also, I love how he's only with women to like get into serious relationships, like leave them with the house or like get married. And then he only gets with men in order to cheat on the women he's with.
I mean,
That's
there has
all he's
to be
done so far.
balance, you know? There has to be balance in the force. Men are for cheating on your wife with.
That's exactly
I
what
believe
Opie's
that's
dad
like
said.
Deuteronomy 3:27.
It's in Daderonomy.
Yeah.
He wrote his own book, and it's a bad one.
Daddy-eronomy.
Oh, God. Next point. He got upset and threatened to sue Grandma over the fact that he could not get into his storage containers on the family's property to get his boat and fishing equipment. Grandma, you are stealing my fish poles.
Man,
I need to fish. Bro, please take this to court.
So bad.
Please take this to court. Take this to court so we can bring up all the other insane stuff that you've done. Please, 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 please. On this day, he also, in the same day, went to Aunt Ruth's house and threatened her and her family because he could not get in there, and tried to kick one of their dogs, which greatly upset her autistic grandson. The next point, we're not even close to
What
being
a
done.
sentence.
OP, we are just getting, this is the preface, by the way. We're not even what he's doing today, okay? Next point. Got involved in not one, but 2 mail order bride scams, one in Michigan and one in Russia, while married to Leah, and lost a great deal of his money while doing so. Would not listen to anyone when we told him that they were scams. I love how he's openly like, hey, he's like married to Leah, and he's like going to his family like, hey, I'm just going to get this mail order bride. And it's like, 1, you are literally married, sir. 2, you're an idiot.
Oh.
Next point. Family started to receive messages on Facebook from people stating that dad was one of the last people seen in areas where their family members were disappearing, and they thought that he might be involved in some sort of trafficking group.
Ooh.
Dad said that this never happened, and that his DL?
Dear lady.
Down low?
Down.
Dear love?
Dear love?
What does DL mean, chat?
Dead
It might
lover.
be dear love. It might be dear love.
No, his DL was stolen.
Like his wife. I think that's what it is.
Down low.
I think it might be dear love. We've heard that.
For dear husband.
Down low. Okay. Anyways,
Dear love.
we're gonna go with dear love.
Driver's license.
Oh, driver's license.
Oh, okay.
Just spell it out, OP.
Yeah. No one knows. Yeah. Anyways.
Come on.
Dad said that this never happened and that his driver's license was stolen by someone shortly before this, but sometimes we still wonder whether that is true or not. Wow. Now we get to the worst parts of the story
Oh, that wasn't enough.
and the stuff from the last 3 years alone. We're ramping up to the
What?
present day. This is the old stuff.
What magnitude is this at? What are we about to get into?
Bro, we're breaking the Richter scale, my friend. We are going all the way in.
Oh God.
Oh, sorry. I'm just sorry. What's worse than like spicy sleep, traffic jam?
Spicy.
I actually don't wish I knew.
Like what?
I mean, there is stuff that's worse. Like
Junior.
murder.
Junior. Yeah.
But it's going to be bad.
Oh,
It's going to be bad.
Oh God.
So now, almost a year after everything had calmed down from the Facebook messages almost 3 years ago now, my brother received a call from a gas station attendant saying that dad had been in their store the night before in the middle of Missouri and had left his phone.
I thought it was gonna be like I heard your dad in our bathroom at the truck stop.
Him and Gary were really getting after it in there.
Yeah, your dad's been frequenting this local glory hole for years.
We keep telling him to stop, but he can't stop.
I haven't seen a gory hole in so long.
And they call him the drainer.
God.
That's what they say.
It's what they call
I
him.
guess I gotta keep going. I mean, drainer, terrible dad is here.
We're not talking about pipes, son.
Drainer
We're
dad.
talking about a man.
Drain your dad.
Your dad, your father. The attendant stated that he was talking to himself and acting very weird, and they were worried for his mental health. They contacted his wife, and she said that he was supposed to be in Omaha, the opposite direction from where his phone was left and where Snapchat last had him pinned, getting a hemorrhoid repaired. Bro.
I think you get one of your male friends to do that for you.
I mean, hey, when you're going,
I object. I object. I'm going to keep reading. The family was very concerned for him and wanted to issue a silver alert for him, like he's missing, but couldn't since our state didn't have this. Best we could do was issue a BOLO for his license since he seemed that he was in it. Family spent about 8 worries worried that something had happened to him before he finally contacted us and stated that he had lost his phone in Omaha and swore up and down that that was where he had been all alone and that he was now back home. Stated that a friend of his had driven to Omaha and back in his vehicle. The next day I got a call from a grocery store that both his wife and myself used to work at, where I got to know his wife, that he had been in the store and was acting weird, talking to himself and causing trouble and scaring other customers. Brother found him finally back at his apartment and got there at the same time as the cops, who had been called because he was trying to climb the building to get onto the balcony of his apartment since he had lost the key to the front door and the balcony door was unlocked.
I want to feel bad for him. But I'm like, I mean, karma, bro.
Dude,
Karma.
he had actually fallen trying to do this, hitting his head, shoulder, and hip in the process. So the cops told my brother to take him to the ER to get him checked out and call the leasing agent to get a new key for his apartment. My brother took him to the ER, where I met him with Aunt Ruth and one of her daughters to make sure he was okay, while brother went back to the apartment to get the key situation figured out. At the hospital, we advised the doctors while away from him that we were worried about dementia since it runs in the family and since he had been acting weird for the last few days.
He's been acting weird his whole life.
I mean, he's really, but like, I guess it's like so normalized for OP. They're like, she's like, oh, this is like a new level, like different types of crazy weird things. So doctors did x-ray and scans and also did a substance test due to concerns. And the fact that he couldn't answer even a single question the same way on more than one occasion and kept saying that something bad was going to happen to the friend who had taken him to Omaha and back because the friend had stolen his vehicle and he knew some very bad people and they were going to make him pay for taking the vehicle and not bringing it back. Bro's life is just... How can one person just be so... It's like Uncut Gems, where dude just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and you're like, oh no, it can't spiral further. It just keeps
But
going.
it does.
Spoiler alert.
But it freaking does. Sorry. That's the one movie I've ever seen.
That's with Adam Sandler, right?
That's with Adam Sandler.
Does Adam Sandler get worse and worse?
He does.
What?
He does.
But he's so funny.
So funny.
He gets worse and worse in the movie.
Wow.
Ooh.
And his movies get worse and worse.
He has some bad movies.
He has some bad movies.
But like, can you blame him? He's like one of the most well-paid actors. I think the most well-paid actor.
Terrible movies.
Imagine being an NBA player and you're shooting 20% of the field goal, but you're getting paid millions. Like, come on. Can't be mad.
I guess.
Or being an NBA player and being hurt all the time and getting paid like hundreds of millions.
I mean, like, can't he just have like? Can you just get good scripts? You know, like.
But that's his thing, man. He's just on
Just pick the good ones.
he's just on a bad team, and that's how he gets money.
Not a bad team. He owns the team.
Whoa.
You know what I own? This story.
Let's go.
When the doctor asked about substance use, he swore that he didn't do any substances, and if they found any in his system, that must have been because someone spiked his food or drink with it because he wouldn't willingly do it himself.
Dang. Don't you hate it when you always get your drink spiked?
It's
Like,
every
it's
day
the
of your
worst.
life. When we got the substance test back, surprise, surprise, he was on meth and X. Woo!
Dang.
Dude, great combo.
Dude, I don't know if I've ever heard of someone take both of that's
I guess like yeah. Why do both?
just to be the life of the party. So he was 64 years old at the time. Bro is just not quitting apparently,
You
and
got to keep that heart going.
apparently gotta have something to prop it up. And my brother was out of the house at 18 due to smoking the devil's lettuce.
Ooh, now we're seeing some hypocrisy.
Wow, some hickory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. I love you.
Thanks, Sophia.
So while we were at the hospital, my brother got into the apartment and said that it smelled like pew pew. Like a pew pew had been fired recently. Oh my God. But there was no sign of violence and his friend was found alive. Oh my God.
What is going on?
So my brother removed all the pew pews and took them to his house. But while doing this, found used needles. Oh, substance test hadn't come back yet, and Dad swore that they were for his wife's diabetic usage. I doubt it. Dad's wife did come to the hospital finally. She was a flight attendant and had been finally able to get a flight home to be there with him. Once the test came back, we knew that he was relatively okay, but him and his wife left and went home. How is she still married to this guy? The next day, she called and said that she was trying to talk him into going to rehab, but he was resisting and didn't want to go until she flew back out because he wanted to spend time with her. She also said that he had told her that during the night that he had been using for a while, and she found many more needles from his use.
Oh.
She also said that he had finally admitted to being in St. Louis and that he had gone there to get a load of substances and bring them back home for a large gang, and that was who was going to hurt the guy that had driven him there and back. This actually caused me to lose sleep over the next, and I only got 3 to 4 hours of sleep in the next 48 hours because of it. He's going through this insane health crisis, going to the ER, climbing his building, trying to get in and falling. He's being chased by some freaking substance lords that are trying to push their product because someone's stolen it.
It's so much.
Like,
How do you cut this guy off?
how is this guy not in prison?
I mean, I think he's going to be soon.
Like very soon. But he's made it 64 years.
That's true.
He's made it 60. That's what's shocking to me. Like, how has he gotten away with it for this long?
Dude, he's just the GOAT. He's just the GOAT.
I mean, he might have a record for doing the most crimes without getting a convicted sentence.
Whew.
So I did advise the whole family of this because it had the potential of all of us, and both my grandma, female 89, and myself lived alone. You would think that this is the end. You would think that this was the end of the story. Maybe he goes to rehab.
No way.
And we're good.
No way. Too easy.
But it is not. There's still so much more. So much more. We're not even halfway through this story, guys. We're literally not even at the 50% mark. Let me just super quickly pause. What do we do? What do you do? You're in OP shoes. What do you do? Answer in the comments, but I'm curious, Sam, for your thoughts.
I mean, you got to limit as much contact with this guy as possible and like try to get him out of your life because he is just a walking wrecking ball.
So I know we say like, you and I often say,
no contact.
Go low contact, right?
No
Chad
contact.
always flames us.
No contact.
This one, I think you just like restraining order. There just reaches a point. And literally like OP's basically saying like people might be in danger because of being knowing and being associated
Well,
with
I mean,
it.
there must be. I feel like he's been pretty. I think he's done some illegal stuff, so there might be some ability to get him arrested.
Yeah. Honestly, get him arrested. It will be for his own good
and the good of everyone in the world.
Let me know what you guys think. Maybe that's extreme, but that's just, this is an extreme guy, an extreme dad who needs to be drained of his freedoms. The family decided that after everything he had put us through in the last 5 to 10 years, this was the final straw, and that the family as a whole, was going to cut him off. I agreed to send a letter via both text and email to him, telling him that we loved him, that we could not have contact with him until he cleaned himself up and got help. It was also at this time that after talking to each other openly for the first time, that he had been turning us against each other for years. So now they're finally coming to the
realization
revelation
of all his manipulation.
Exactly. And gaslighting everyone into believing everything that he had said and not what others were saying. Classic narcissist. And then he needed to get help for that as well before we would be willing to have contact with him again. He didn't respond to this right away, but waited until 4 or 5 months later. When he finally did reply, it was to my siblings and myself, but it was not at all what we expected. He rambled on about how he had gotten clean without any help and that he didn't need any of us anymore, and then started going on and on about how everything that had ever gone wrong in his life was because of my Aunt Ruth, my mom, his father, and myself, and that he was better cutting ties with us because it only meant that his life would finally start to improve. So he pulled no, I'm breaking up with you. He said, I'm breaking up with you.
I mean, that feels in character.
Bro.
What do you do? Like, usually
You
he
let
just
him break up with you.
Well, he usually cheats, and that's how he gets out. But like, this is new.
Yeah, just let him break up with you. Just.
Yeah, you know what? Oh man, I'm so sad. Oh man,
Yeah, don't do that, please.
yeah,
please.
Oh God, stay.
Do that. This continued for a few months where he would be quiet for a while, but then would message us from a new phone number or social media account. We keep blocking him, but he kept finding ways around it. Then about a year ago, my grandpa, who had been in a care center due to advanced Alzheimer's, he was very combative and even threatened my grandma one night because he couldn't remember who she was. Became very ill with pneumonia due to all the meds that they had him on to keep him calm. He was very inactive and rarely got out of bed anymore, and the hospital he was taken to did not think that he would make it through the night. So my grandmother made the decision that we should contact him. Poll, contact or nah. His father is about to be lights out. Do we contact him or not? I say no.
No, why do you want to contact this guy?
I don't even think he would care. Like, I really don't think he would even care. But the poll is up. Let us know what you think.
No, do not contact him.
I would not contact. So my grandmother made the decision that we should contact him. We had left this up to her as the head of the family because while she still didn't want to see him, she did not want to deny him the right to be able to say goodbye to his father. He did come right away and was shown to my grandpa's room by my cousins and my brother. Dad is 5'8" and 200 pounds at most, when my brother and all my cousins were between 5'10" and 6'3" and weigh between 250 to 350 pounds. But
350 pounds?
But think linebackers. Like they're built like
350.
They're built, bro. Built.
That is like twice us. That is two of us.
That's so true. Dude, imagine having to go
us
1v1
together
with
is 350 pounds.
that. Dude, chat, could me and Sam take 350? I mean,
Come on, dude.
bro looks like a tank. I mean, like,
Dude, I don't know, man.
honestly, these pictures seem not so bad, but like, you know what's the craziest thing? Watching a football or basketball game and watching the players walk up to the refs.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that ref is literally like the shortest man
Look
I've
at
ever seen.
bro.
We knew this may have been a bit excessive, but we didn't know how he was going to act based on all the texts that he'd been sending threatening all of us. Grandpa did thankfully improve for a while, and we were able to get almost a year with him before he left us. After this, we started to give him a chance again. What did chat vote?
No.
3%, 14% said contact.
That's crazy.
14%, 17%.
No way.
K. Dud and Lindsay. What are you, Kirsten, what's going on?
Why?
After this, we started to give him a chance again, but kept him at a length and only had contact under our terms. Now, he was good for a few months and even got in to meet the grandson that was born after we had cut him off, who was almost 2 by this time. Although my brother did have a good father figure in his life now, he still wanted that acceptance and respect of his own father. Oh, man. However, this was short-lived, and within 6 months of letting him back in, he started sending long, rambling texts about how everyone was always against him and how everyone else but him was responsible for everything bad that had happened in his life, and the entire family cut him off again. Which brings us to the past late summer when Grandpa started to get sick again. We found out on a Thursday that he was not doing well and that they didn't think he was going to make it more than a few days. We contacted my sister on the West Coast, and she'd caught a plane home on Saturday at noon since she hadn't been home since Christmas. By the time we were able to get to the care home he was in on Saturday at 2, we were told that his passing was imminent and to call all family to come and say their goodbyes. So
Sayonara.
who we gonna?
Dude, you might have to call Ghostbusters. Man will haunt you. Man will haunt you. There's no way this guy dies and your problems go away. He's got
No,
skeletons in the closet.
This isn't dad. This is granddad.
Oh,
this is grandpa. Dad is still alive and well, brother.
Dang it.
Dad is still alive. He's like, dang it. Dad is still alive and
I
well.
thought our problems were gone.
Okay. Again, my grandma made decisions that we needed to contact Dad. So this time, however, Ruth made the call. She called him while we were on the drive there, and he had told her, I'm busy working now and may not be able to make it. To which she replied, make it or don't make it. That's your choice. It was my choice to advise you of what was happening, so you couldn't later say that no one had told you what was going on, and then ended the call. My siblings and I stayed till around 4:30 and then left because my nephews, male 4 and male 2, were starting to get feisty and hungry. Now, at around 5:30, an hour and a half later, we got a text from my cousin that my dad had been there and seen Grandpa and then left all within half an hour without saying goodbye to anyone before he left. About an hour after that, we got the news that Grandpa had passed away. Now, at the funeral, it had been originally decided by the pastor that there would be a time during both the visitation and the funeral where friends and family could come up and share stories with everyone about my grandpa.
My gosh.
No! Do not let that dad on the stage.
I had to do this with my grandpa that died, and it was called Spud Tales. Worst day of my life.
Oh, God.
He never saw me, and I was sick, and I had to like sit there for 2 hours talking about how great Spud was.
Was he great?
No, I mean, he gave me like a cool like little Jeep driving car, but that was it.
Oh, that's cool.
That is pretty lit.
Yeah. But he had 4 other wives. A lot of people had a lot to say that day.
I'm sure many of his wives.
Sounds like, yeah, maybe his wives.
But sorry, I just got PTSD from that. But yeah, don't let him up on stage.
Dude, don't let him do it. This all started out well at the visitation, and I actually learned some things from my grandpa that I had never known about my grandparents and their kindness and generosity. They were both wonderful, kind, generous, and amazing people who consider anyone who is friends with their kids, grandkids, and great grandkids as family. My dad, being who he is, decided to make up stories, which we were all later told by my grandma and aunts were flat out lies.
Oh God, what did he say?
We'll see if we get to know. This caused the pastor to cut the part of visitation short, and thus during the actual funeral the next day, we were instead asked to write down memories, which would be confirmed and approved, and then the pastor would read them off instead of us just getting up and speaking. Bro changed the whole funeral play out.
Oh.
This also caused no one in the family to speak to him at the funeral, and no one in the family has talked to or heard from him since. Sorry if that was a lot. It was a lot for us to process as well. Hope you all enjoy the spicy tea that is my family and have a great holiday season. And we have an update.
You're joking.
I am not even freaking joking. We still have like more than a quarter.
This guy
of the story
needs
left.
to just leave. He just needs to leave.
All right, real quick. Boys, chat,
Oh.
conspiracies. Write down in the chat, in the comments, what you think is about to happen. Sam, just give me something.
I think he's gonna steal someone's identity.
That's a good one. Do the thing that you accused someone else of doing.
Yeah.
Riley, you got anything for us?
I mean, seeing this pattern, weapon. I think honestly, I feel like the lords or the people he owes money to are gonna find him, and that's gonna be a whole debacle.
Oh, I mean, he has a lot of enemies.
Dude, so many enemies.
In a lot of countries,
including his own dad. My conspiracy theory is he is gonna finally get jammed up. He's gonna go to court. OP's gonna learn of all of the things he's done, and then he's going to prison.
Yeah.
For the rest of his life.
Yeah. I wonder if he has any money that maybe OP could sue for, drain his dad of his cash.
Her dad
Makes
makes it way worse.
or he tries to make a business out of doing what he does best, and he goes to the like Google domain to get it. Can't.
Yeah, right.
We have officially screwed him over.
Bro, I had literally forgotten that he had run around on his wives always cheating on other dudes.
Yeah,
I
dude.
literally forgot.
I mean, there's a lot that he's done. He has a long list of
He's lived a
accomplishments.
full life.
He's lived a life that will be remembered, at the very least.
Definitely by us at the bare minimum. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one way to find out what actually happened, and that is to read the
that
update.
story.
Let's freaking
Spill
see.
that
Tea. Hold on to your potatoes and grab your tea, because just as I thought things couldn't get any crazier, and not just crazy, but completely freaking insane.
Oh.
I have said what the actual F more in the last 3 days than probably any other time in my life. And again, OP has lived her whole life with OP as a father. Again, this is going to be really long because there is a lot that happened between that time and now. If you're reading this first, you should probably go back and read the previous post first to get a ton of context, because it'll all be relevant. So December started out really rough for my family, as my grandfather, my mom's dad, this time passed away after a 2-week struggle with a congestive heart failure. He was 97 years old, and he had a valve replacement about 10 years ago, and it had started to fail again. So he was filling with fluid and struggling to breathe. He was in the hospital twice between Thanksgiving and the first week of December due to this. He did have an end of life plan in place and refused all but comfort care. This was his choice, and he was very vocal in the last year that he was ready to leave this life. He did not want to self-harm. He just missed our grandma, who had passed away 3 years ago, and would say that if he got sick again, he would rather just go peacefully than keep fighting it. This did hurt, but we all understood. Shortly after he passed away, our father contacted my brother to ask him for a favor, but didn't even mention my grandfather or offer any condolences for losing him in the same year that we lost our other grandfather. Because remember, this isn't his dad that passed away this time. My brother made the decision to ignore him, as this was the first time we had even heard from him since our other grandma passed away back in August. We held the services for our grandpa on December 21st, the day after my sister got home for Christmas holiday. And it was a beautiful ceremony in which my grandpa was granted full military honors, since my grandpa had served in the Navy during the Korean War. My dad never reached out to my sister or I, or attempted to contact my brother again about our loss. Christmas was great, and we really enjoyed catching up with both sides of the family and watching our nephews go crazy over all the gifts. They both got new toy semi-trucks. Their dad, my brother, is a truck driver, and they are both truck crazy. That's adorable. Toy remote control monster trucks, and we're super excited to play with them. On December 26th, there was a story on the news that something had happened at our dad's apartment complex.
Oh, no.
What could it be? Oh, God. And a couple of people saw it and wondered if it had anything to do with our dad, but then wrote it off because him and his wife didn't contact us that there was anything to worry about. On New Year's Eve, I ended up in the ER due to severe back pain from 2 bulged discs that I have in my lower back. I am currently on medical leave from work because of this and lifting restrictions that my doctor had in place for me. This all started around last year this time. I'm only including it in this post as stress makes my muscles tense, which in simple terms makes the pain worse. I got some muscle relaxers and pain meds and was sent home feeling a little better at least then. On January 3rd, around 6:20 p.m.
That, literally just happened. January 3rd.
That's true.
I was sitting on my couch, eating leftovers and watching TV when I get a call from my cousin. She's audibly upset and asks if I've seen the news. I say, no, I don't watch the news. It only makes me angry. She then tells me that my grandma was watching the 6 o'clock news and there was a story that my worm donor, my seed donor, that my seed donor was arrested for second degree.
We were right.
What?
Did I not call that earlier?
You did.
Riley was like, how could it get worse? This is how it gets worse.
That's true.
See, he would be remembered. He would be remembered.
Wow.
Second
degree. That's almost as bad as first.
Mm-hmm. What's second degree mean?
I'm looking it up right now.
It's not premeditated, I guess.
First degree, considered the most serious, involves premeditating and intentional.
Yep.
Second degree involves intentional unaliving without premeditation. And third degree is less serious form, often reckless behavior that causes.
So that's like manslaughter.
Yeah. So it's intentional, but it wasn't like you thought it through.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm going to do this for fun.
If there's one thing we've learned, this man does not think things through, ladies and gentlemen.
So is second degree what's
it's like you get in a fight and then the other person actually passes.
No, that's third degree.
That's reckless. Intentional is like,
I actually want.
Yeah, I'm gonna, like a crime of passion.
Yeah.
Like you hit my car, so I stab you.
Right. Ouch.
With intent to unalive.
Yeah.
But I didn't think about doing it beforehand.
Oh boy.
But like beforehand, it's like, I know where you live. I know that you wake up near 6:30 a.m. every morning. So before that, I'm going to wake up at 6:15 and then plan something and then you're done.
Because I think like the government's like, all right, like, everyone gets a little kooky every once in a while, but to like think about it for a long time, like that's not as chill.
I guess not.
Heat of the moment. MR says.
OP says, turns out that the story from December 26th, remember that one, guys, was about him and that he had accidentally pew-pewed someone after they got in an argument.
That's whenever they smelt the powder. The pew-pew powder in the apartment.
I think that's right. The news report stated that they had met on a dating app and had gotten together for giggity and party favors, and some type of argument happened. My seed donor of a father told the police that it was an accident. It was an accident, bro.
It's fine.
And that he didn't realize that the pew-pew was loaded or that the safety was off.
Oh my gosh.
Simple mistake. Yeah, why were you holding it, pointing it, and pulling it?
That's why it was second degree, because it was intentional.
Yeah. Most
Because if they thought it wasn't intentional, then they would have put it at third degree.
Yeah.
And that is law for you.
That's like me being like, hey, someone's like, the judge says to me, hey, why did you spank Riley's cheeks red? I'm like, I didn't know that the paddle would hurt
do that
and make a cheek red.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
You don't know until you try.
Oops.
You don't know. It's called science.
Called
Science. Called an experiment. Hypothesis. This won't make Riley's cheeks red.
That's right.
Test. Results. It did.
You guys are getting a taste of what it's like outside of the podcast room.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Riley, you've been a good boy. 3 spankings for you.
Oh, God. You're being generous today.
Please, no, sir.
Launching from the makers of DrainYourDaddy.com comes SpankYourDaddy.com. A whole new experience for all you daddies out there.
SpankYourProducer.com. Isn't available.
That one's got to be expensive or taken. Anyways.
Spank Your Producer?
Come on.
Oh, no, that one's there. I thought you were saying spank your daddy.
Oh, Spank Your Daddy.
My grandma was so upset not only that at this, but that she had to find out about it on the news. My Aunt Ruth, 65 female, and her husband brought dinner over to my grandma and stayed with her until she went to bed. The next day, yesterday, we all gathered at my grandma's to show support and remind her that nothing he does is her fault. He is an adult, 67, and he alone is responsible for his own actions, and there is nothing different that she could have done to change him. We were also sharing some stories about how we had all experienced his violent temper in the past. I have more than one story about stupid little things that he lost his temper on me about, but that would be an entire post in and of itself. Anyways, during this time, my grandma and aunts brought up a time that he came to my grandparents' house and my aunts were there. He pulled out a pew-pew, forced one of his sisters to hold it to his head, and told them that if they were all going to continue to fight with my mom, they should just go ahead and pull the trigger and save him all the drama and fights.
Wow.
Mind you,
That's one solution.
as per the previous post, that he was the one stirring up all the drama. Right. He's like, yeah, if you're going to keep up his drama, you might as well just knock me down now. Meanwhile, he was the one that was doing all of it, that he was the one stirring up all the drama by lying and manipulating all of them into hating each other in the first place. This was the first time I had heard this story, and it was super scary to hear it even years later. By the way, one thing that will never scare you, that you'll feel safe, comforted, and good to go at all times, and it's not Drain Your Daddy or SpankYourDaddy.com, is our podcast. We have full audio episodes of stories just like this. Go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, go to your favorite podcast app, search OK Storytime, and listen to episodes to your heart's content.
Mm-hmm.
It's chock full of stories like this one, unfortunately. Some of them, but this one, honestly, this is might be a top 10er, guys, because this is
a gauntlet of a
crazy.
Yeah, this is a gauntlet.
Sam, I regretfully inform you there is more to this story. While we were talking about everything that had happened, because remember, Dad pew-pewed somebody, don't forget. And what we knew about the situation, I mentioned that my brother had received a message from our dad's wife that she was upset about a message that my cousin had put on Facebook about being stressed the night before. Nothing in the message even suggested that it had anything to do with my dad's situation. And in the comments, my cousin even says that it's due to stuff that is going on the other side of the family. Her dad's sister passed away last year, and my cousin is the executor of her estate, and the family is fighting over some things. But our dad's wife, Leah, 34 female, also stated that she was upset that we had cut him off, and that if we hadn't, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Leah, you lost us. You lost us, Leah. That's not it. She says that we don't know the full story and shouldn't be putting anything on social media about it.
Oh, come on. We know enough of the story. How is this not the full? I don't want to know the full story.
We know what happened. And we shouldn't be posting anything about it on social media when we don't know what we're talking about. Keep in mind, he has cheated on her multiple times, including with the guy involved in this situation.
Oh, my God.
The guy he pew-pewed in more ways than one. But she is still supporting him and is upset with us for not doing the same. Also, no one has said anything on social media about this specific situation. I do partially understand that her supporting him is part of her culture. She's Filipino and doesn't believe in divorce or cutting family off in any situation. But it worries us that she may not be seeing the full picture or maybe being gaslighted by him. So my question is, would I be the a-hole if I contacted her family on Facebook, they're back in the Philippines, and advised them of everything he has done over the years and what is currently going on so that they can try and talk to her about leaving him? That is the end of the story, and we will close this insane journey by answering the question, would OP indeed be the a-hole if she told her family back home about it, kind of exposing the husband to try and get the family to pressure her to divorce him.
Exposing the husband?
Basically, maybe expose is not the right word, but she wants to tell the family so that way they will be like, hey, why are you married to him? Divorce him immediately.
Yeah, I mean...
Leave him immediately.
I doubt that he's, we want to believe people can change.
Sam.
But in this case, I really don't think we have enough to believe it. There hasn't been enough time. I think this man is a walking grenade and has been unpinned and is just waiting to explode in the hands of this poor family.
He's been exploded in many hands before.
He's been exploded in every... your daddy has been drained in the hands of every person that he's been with before. Yeah. We need to put a stop to this madness.
We need to clog that drain.
Clog that drain.
Did we answer would OP be the a-hole if she did that though? If
no.
she told the family. No?
No.
This is like the family needs to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. When you're married to a guy who does that.
If you make it on the news, anything about your personal life should be exposed.
That's true. It's already publicly available information.
Like, you're in jail. What are you going to do if it's out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out?
I was going to say, like, to play devil's advocate, you could say, like, you're just involving yourself more and just, like, step away from it completely. But she would be saving this woman by doing that.
Yeah.
So I say, let's do God's work. Let's do God's work and tell the family. But that is it.
Oh, my goodness.
That is all. There is no more as of yet. We don't know if we're going to get an update or something.
Wow. We are many updates deep, but luckily...
We're deep as a daddy.
But don't forget to spank your daddies.
My brother went missing 10 years ago, but today I uncovered my parents' dark secret.
I mean, that is a long time. 10 years?
10 years. That's longer than Rick and Morty has been on air. My brother went missing years ago. And when I say missing, I mean that his case was declared one of those creepy unsolved mysteries.
Are we true crime now? Is that what's happening?
That's what we're getting into. It was on the news. I distinctly remember my parents interviewing for the news in our living room. And I think I know what happened to him.
Yo, I'm ready.
I was very young when he went missing. The day before he disappeared, I remember him staying home and babysitting me. I stayed in my room and played Nintendo 64. Throughout the day, a guy came over. I remember him. He was older, almost our dad's age. My brother made me go to my room whenever I heard the doorbell. Later, after the guy left, my brother would ask me not to say anything about the guy. With my brain only being focused on video games and extra dessert at that age, I agreed. I didn't care, nor did I comprehend the gravity of the situation. The day before he disappeared, I remember the older guy coming over. I was in the kitchen and remember looking up and seeing him kiss my brother. They hugged. They didn't care that I saw them. The older guy waved back at me and I waved back at him. Then I kept watching cartoons. I fell asleep on the couch and woke up to my brother whispering outside our front door. Don't worry, he's asleep, he said. The other guy said something I couldn't hear. Then my brother said something I couldn't make out. But I made out the words, visit them, or maybe he said, visit him? Either way, I know the word visit was in the sentence. The man raised his voice and said, yo. Then I heard plan in city, and then I fell asleep again. The next morning, the day he disappeared, my parents were at work. My brother was acting very strange. I remember he kept checking the clock. Then he told me he had to run to our neighbor's house or something. I don't even remember what he said. I just said, okay. He reminded me to not open the door for anyone, only mom and dad. I shouted at him, okay, because Super Mario was getting on my effing nerves and he wasn't helping. He gave me a hug and told me he loved me and left. And he never came back. All these years, decades later, and I think he was in love with that man. Maybe his brother's older, like 18 or something. I know he was. The memories randomly came flooding back to me earlier. I'm not quite sure why, but it has been taking over my thoughts lately. I can't sleep because I keep thinking about it. I think my brother left with that man and they ran away together, or maybe something worse happened, but I don't think that's the case. My freshman year of college, I was part of a sports team that got national recognition. I remember my team's picture was on ESPN and it had our university's name. A few days later, I got mail at my dorm. It was a gift basket. I thought it was from my parents, so I didn't read the card. I threw it away immediately.
immediately and ate what was inside, but it was nothing but candy. Nerds, Jolly Ranchers, Tootsie Rolls, and Hershey's Kisses.
You freaking teenager.
I called my dad and thanked him for the gift basket, and he said he didn't send one. Neither did mom. Then I got to thinking, all those candies were what I used to eat as a kid. Literally all I ate for the earliest years of my life were those candies.
Oh my gosh.
I tried to find the card, but I couldn't. Months later, during Christmas, I got an unmarked Christmas card. The only thing written on it was a smiley face, which is hella creepy.
That is way too cryptic and like, at least say like, hope you're well.
Since then, I've heard nothing. No one I know sent that card, and I have never responded. I wonder every day if he's out there. I've never told anyone. When the police asked me what happened that day, I told them that he went to the neighbors because that's all I remembered, honestly. And it destroyed my parents. My mom became addicted to painkillers, and my dad has had 3 extramarital affairs. Dealing with pain in different ways, I guess.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah.
My God.
Which I know this tragedy is no way an excuse cheap, but it sure didn't help.
It has ruined our family, and maybe my brother knows what he did. Maybe he regrets it and knows he can't come back home. But if I could see him today, I would just want to tell him that he is always welcome in my home. I love you so much, brother. We have so much catching up to do. Please come home, please. And there is an update.
Oh my gosh.
But John, what do you think happened?
I mean, first of all, Opie, you got to be a little like, just give it to us straight what you're thinking. Like, it seems like Opie is hinting he knows where the brother is, that like maybe the guy was like a lover or something. Honestly, when I was first listening to it, I suspected like that was his real like biological dad.
Oh.
And dad came back and was like, oh, I'm your real dad, blah, blah, blah. And I don't know, I guess maybe he's vindictive against the family or something. Like that was my initial hypothesis
From your
going
mom's
into it.
extramarital affairs. You
Yes.
heard all about your dad. So.
Yeah, like the dad doesn't know he's the dad type of a situation. That's what I guessed was happening in the beginning.
Well, you ready to find out?
I got into contact with some detectives that our family has known since my brother went missing. When I started asking questions, they told me that my brother was no longer on any missing persons registry. When I asked what that meant, they told me that he was removed per my parents' request.
Okay.
I asked my parents, my dad actually. My dad ignored. My mom told me my brother is alive and okay, as far as she knows. They found my brother years ago, a very, very long time ago, and found out he was living with another man. He's gay, and it disgusted my parents. He tried to reach out to them. They told them they didn't want anything to do with him and that I didn't remember him and wouldn't want to see him.
Like, keep your biases within yourself at the very least. Don't let them affect the younger brother.
I went ballistic. My parents weren't fazed by it. They sincerely hate my brother for who he is, for being gay. They kept him a secret from me all my effing life. My brother missed the birth of his nephew. He missed my wedding, graduations, everything, just because my parents, they lied to me. I've been able to get a phone number and contact information from police officers.
Oh, wow.
He's alive. I haven't talked to my parents in weeks, and I never plan on speaking to them ever again.
Oh, wow.
Not for what they've done to me or my brother. I called my brother. First thing I heard on the other line was this guy laughing in the background. Who is this? It was his voice. I knew that voice. It was my effing brother who had been gone my entire life. Covered my mouth with my shaking hands and just sat there. Kept asking me who it was. The guy in the background was trying to talk to him, and then he hung up on me. I called him back right away.
Yeah.
He answered again.
Okay.
Me being a creepy ass, the first thing I said after decades of not seeing him and thinking he was dead, I blurted, "I got your number." He asked me who I was and what I wanted. I said, "It's me." There was a really long pause. I thought the call had dropped. He asked me my name. I told him, and he said that I was lying. I told him I got his number from the Missing Children's Network and detective. I heard him gasp. He asked me what color shoelaces he wore to a picnic when we were kids. And I remember my mom getting mad at his orange laces with blue shoes. It was the last time we were together as a family. I could tell he was crying. The first thing he asked me was, "Where are you?" And I told him I lived a few hours away from home. Without hesitating, he told me, "I'm coming." He went straight to the airport without any luggage, bought a plane ticket, and flew straight to me. We stayed on the phone with each other the entire time. When he was walking through the gate, I knew who he was right away. He's middle-aged, salt and pepper hair, muscular, looks like my dad, only better. I know if I told him that would make him mad. I literally pushed an old lady out of the way, and I just hugged him. He was crying. I was crying. I was having a breakdown. He apologized. He kept crying, telling me he felt horrible. Told him to forget about everything and tell me about his life. He stayed with us for 2 weeks, and in 2 weeks, everything about my life changed. His husband and 2 daughters flew in to stay with us. My
Wow.
brother-in-law and my 2 nieces.
2 daughters. Wow.
My family. They are my family. I do not plan on forgiving my parents, but my brother still loves them. He went by their house and knocked on the door. My father shut the door in his face. My mother gave him a hug and told him to take care of himself. Then she shut him out. I can't forgive them for that. I have no reason to stay close to them. I want to be with my family. I want to make up for the lost time. And I'm here. So happy, so fulfilled knowing that my family has grown and doubled in size so suddenly. My heart is happy. I am so happy right now. Wow. I don't know know how I'd react, like seeing my brother after all
After
those years.
a decade?
A decade. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
And also like thinking that my brother was missing or like dead.
Yeah.
Also, I can't believe the parents.
It always shocks me when someone will just like disown their child.
Yeah, that was a tearjerker.
That was a tearjerker.
That was a good one. I would love to know what you guys thought. My husband exploded on me because he thought I baby trapped him. Now I found out the real reason he got upset, and I think I might divorce him. My husband, male 35, and I, female 32, have been married for just 7 years. He left next door. We just clicked. It was a fairy tale, like Shrek. One thing I've always thought made our marriage so strong was our friendship with each other and our trust in one another. Although now my husband seems to think otherwise. Recently, my husband found out that his friend Geoff, male 34, has been baby trapped. Basically, Geoff's wife, female 32, stopped taking the pill and fell pregnant a few months into their relationship and only came clean after the wedding. That's why boys, don't trust that they're on the pill. At least pull out.
Spill your seed where it don't bleed.
That is great advice.
Come on.
John doesn't miss. GF came from a very conservative family, which his wife knew, and so he felt obligated to marry her after the pregnancy. Unfortunately, he also feels obligated to stay regardless of the clearly messed up dynamic because he feels he has made a vow and will stick by his wife and child. I gotta give it up for Geoff though.
No, you're an idiot. Just leave.
But what about the sanctity of marriage?
The sanctity of marriage.
Yeah, Geoff, I don't know if this is a good relationship.
You know it's Jeff, right?
No, I'm gonna keep
I know. I just wanted to make sure you knew.
It's spelled Geoff. And what world is that pronounced the same as Jeff? My husband, for some reason, has been really rattled by this. I am currently 4 months pregnant with our first, and my husband asked me yesterday if I was trying to baby trap him.
Too much, bro. Cool your jets, buddy.
Chill.
I first laughed because I honestly thought it was a joke, but he was dead serious. And he doubled down. So I told him that we have already been married for 7 years, and a baby was not going to trap him any more than he already was. My husband did not like that answer and said there was no time limit on baby trapping and that my intentions were clearly not pure given how I was acting as if his concerns were a joke.
Oh, vomit.
He said he had trusted me in the past, but me laughing in his face gave him no reason to trust him now. There was more to the story, but what do you think so far about Geoff's reaction?
I hate this guy. Like, is this Geoff or was the friend Geoff?
Sorry, the friend's Geoff.
Friend was Geoff, yeah. And then OP's man. Yeah, I think he's an absolute idiot. I think all of the men are idiots. Geoff, leave. Just stop. All the men in the story, just stop.
It gets worse.
Of
Today
course it
I
does.
woke up and my husband was gone, but I didn't have a nasty text from his brother, male 28, saying that I forced my husband into this pregnancy, despite it having been a joint decision.
Oh my
I love
God.
how probably what happened. It was like, hey, like, babe, do you want to have a kid? And he was like, all right, let's do it. And then he's like, wait,
How dare you? How dare you do the thing I told you to do?
My husband is MIA and has not responded to calls or texts, and now I'm wondering how on earth to go forward. Any advice? What advice would you guys give her? But there are some commenters that said some stuff. So they said either the husband was panicking about fatherhood and looking for a way that would let him save face, or the husband has started an affair with someone else and again was looking for a way to end things without looking like the bad guy. Again, he could also just be super insecure.
Or maybe he's a fucking idiot.
There is an update though.
Oh.
Not sure if I'm allowed to post here again, but I wanted to quickly, you're not allowed, no. I wanted to quickly update everyone who was kind enough to give me some advice. I didn't respond anyone because my post was locked quite quickly, but I have read every single comment and message. I realized while I was reading the comments that everyone was right. Oh, Reddit, give me the best advice.
Come on.
I realized I wasn't angry enough. My husband had insulted me and our marriage in a very hurtful way, and it just didn't really register for a while.
Absolutely.
I was so confused and upset that it didn't occur to me to be angry, but Reddit made me realize I should be pissed as
Yes.
Reddit.
Stir the rage. Stoke the anger. Stoke it.
I love Reddit, bro. In the meantime, I called my best friend, female 31, who had been such a rock in my life. She came over with some chocolate, classic, and was furious when she heard. She's like, girl, don't accept that shit. She called her husband, male 34, into the house after I had gotten everything out of my system. He is a family lawyer and said that he would happily represent me if I wanted to go through with divorce.
Oh, wow.
Damn, son.
We're escalating.
Okay, well, he could just be insecure. Let's all right. I know Reddit is just like instantly
Divorce. Literally always.
And hey, we're the first ones to say the divorce chance really fun to do.
Yeah.
Divorce.
So fun.
We love saying it.
Yeah.
But you're going pretty hard in the paint right here.
Or maybe we just hear me out. Okay.
All right, I'm hearing you out,
We
John.
skip divorce straight to murder.
This man is a saint, and I will draw up the divorce papers on Monday. This all feels a little fast. I mean, do you have proof that he actually cheated? Like, this is a lot of suspicion. My mother-in-law, female 66, showed up with my husband in the car not long after my best friend's husband arrived, and she practically dragged him to the door. My mother-in-law said that he showed up at theirs late last night, saying that he was certain that I was using the baby to trap him. Fortunately, my mother-in-law is a smart woman and absolutely tore him a new one before dragging him to my house to apologize.
That's fire.
My worm of husband did not look me in the eye the entire time, but said that he was scared about becoming a dad and projected his fears onto me. He said that he wasn't sure if he was ready for that kind of commitment, but he will step up as if he is some kind of hero. Eye roll. I called him a coward and told him that he should stay with his parents until I'm ready to talk about him. I didn't want to say anything about the divorce papers because I didn't know what his reaction would be, but he will find out soon enough. You know,
Yeah.
the divorce feels like a little bit much.
It does feel a little rushed. I do agree with you.
A lot of people have
Do
cold
agree with you
feet
there.
when they're having kids. Like that's a common thing. And it's a common thing with marriages too.
Yeah, I mean, look, the husband like has a lot of making up to do, but I think it's like if this is a relationship worth say 7 years, who also will be the father of your child, like it. Not that the kid thing should make them stay together, but worth sitting down and unpacking.
Yeah,
I think at a minimum.
I don't know. Like I think there's a lot of times where partners feel insecure in a relationship.
Yeah, totally.
And it should at least be talked about.
Yeah.
But damn, Reddit just goes for divorce every single time.
Yeah. And she's eating it up.
She's eating it up. I also showed my mother-in-law the text from my brother-in-law, and her face was like a storm cloud. I don't know what will happen here, but I'm sure it will be bad. For now, I am exhausted and just want to curl up and cry. My best friend said she'll spend the night with me and we can watch silly movies. I've also made an appointment with a therapist for the next week, but for now, I just need to rest. I am exhausted and devastated that my marriage has come crumbling down. Sorry for the sad ending. Wow. We want to know what you think. Put it in the comments below. Divorce?
Divorce? Question mark?
Instant divorce?
Yes or no divorce?
But John, let me know what you think. Well, I guess first question, do you think OP should get divorced?
Not yet. And also, we don't know the exact timeline here as well. Is this days? Is this months? Like, I don't know. Sounds like it was maybe
quick.
weeks.
Sounds like it was quick.
Yeah, like it feels pretty quick, at least in the decision timeline. Maybe there was like gaps between like the major events and decisions, but I would definitely sit down and maybe say to him something like, this is the type of thing that like
cannot happen again
and like ruins relationships. You know what I mean? Like this is like making me not want to continue with this relationship, but I'm like sitting down and like trying to like understand.
Yeah.
You know,
and also just like, you know, I've been cheated on in the past in my first relationship, and like that sucked. And especially because it was my first relationship, it was traumatic. And it's still baggage that I have with me today that makes me like a little like just like not trusting.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's always been fine, but I just like say like, hey, like I just talk to my partner and say, like, I don't accuse them of cheating, but like I just say like, hey, like this makes me uncomfortable. Let's talk about
Sam,
it.
Are you a real Redditor? You're telling me you don't out the gate with zero proof, jump straight to cheating?
I know.
Wow.
I really should. I really should more often.
We'll work on you.
But I think allow people to be insecure. That happens all the time. And if you are not allowing your partner to have moments of being unsure about the relationship, moments of being unsure about themselves, like those are allowed. That like you are human. To say that you don't have moments where you're unsure, I think is denying your humanity in some ways.
Yeah, I think like if OP's husband had literally just gone up to her and been like, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I'm scared. I don't know if I can be a good father. I'm like just terrified of the idea in general. Like maybe like I was tempted to do all this like erratic behavior, but I wanted to sit down because I didn't
I
want
wasn't
to like.
thinking clearly. I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
wasn't
I
thinking
just,
clearly.
but I'm,
Afterwards, I was saying like he should have done that first. But
Right,
now, now it is what it is. And just,
Fatherhood's scary, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he definitely made a mistake, but
Yeah.
I just don't think divorce, like the immediate divorce, maybe is
Totally.
the right. But hey, let us know what you think. We're just two dudes talking into a microphone.
That's
So,
right.
We love you guys. Let us know in the comments below.
My husband's ex-wife can't move on. Now she won't stop spreading lies.
Or legs.
I'm sorry for grammar mistakes, but English is not my first language. I, 28 female, met my husband Rod, 30 male, 9 years ago after I moved to his city.
Hot rod.
Hot Rod. He was my brother's buddy, and we also became friends quickly. I had a boyfriend at the time, and he had a couple of relationships during the years. We always liked each other, but the time was never right. We were just friends that grabbed the beer together from time to time, had fun, and gave each other advice on whatever was going on in our lives.
Oh, just like us.
Just like us. And by the way, this comes from user CLover1230 on the r/OK Storytime subreddit, where you can submit your stories as well. So, 2 years ago, we found each other both single and looking for something meaningful, so we started dating. And within a year and a half, we got married. I know this sounds rushed, but we have known each other for years and didn't want to waste any more time. We are just a normal, happy couple that is trying to enjoy life. This does not sit well with my husband's ex, Mary, 33 female. I never met Mary in person, but I have known her through what Rod and my brother told me about her over the years. Rod and Mary were together for about a year and a half before Rod broke up with her. I'd say 2 or 3 months before we started dating. During the last 6 months of their relationship, Rod often complained about her, saying that she wanted to control his friendships, she was becoming extra jealous, and he suspected that she was trying to quit her birth control pills without telling him.
Oh, wow. That seems like a very important piece of information. You should tell your partner.
You should tell your partner if you're getting off birth control. The final straw was about buying a house. She was unemployed and living with her parents. He was living with his parents, but had finally reached a salary high enough to ask for a loan and buy a house. Long story short, he wanted to buy a house for himself. She wanted him to buy a 2-family home for him, her, and for her parents. She went ballistic when she discovered that he found an apartment that he liked and made an offer. He was paying for all of it, so he decided that this was enough, dumped her, and went on a 3-week-long vacation. Dude, Rod knows how to do it. Hot Rod! Hot Rod knows how to get it done. From that point on, a nightmare started. I'll summarize just the main events of the last 2.5 years in bullet points.
Oh, no. Thank you. I love bullet points.
While he was on vacation, she went to his workplace asking who was the bee he was sleeping with. That's not very cool. She waited for him to come back from the vacation on the front door of his building with a cake, saying something like, "I forgive you. After you boiled it off, I think you should tell me you're sorry and hand me the keys for my house."
You got all that on a cake?
Whoa.
How did you do that? Is that a big cake?
I must have been a pretty big one.
What?
She sent multiple letters to his address. At that point, she was blocked everywhere else because of constant calling and texting, saying stuff like she got a tattoo with their initials, which she really did. She took a pregnancy test that was negative, but knew in her heart she was pregnant and lost the baby, a baby boy, she said, like a month after being dumped. This girl needs therapy, like for real, for real. She's not only trying to gaslight the ex in that letter, she wrote that to convince herself that that was the truth.
Oh, yeah. You put her on a lie detector right after that. She's going to come up as true.
Dude, she might pass it.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, which is very concerning. She really wanted to help him, quote, fight his demons and come back to her where he belonged to mourn together the loss of their child and try again for a baby and other nonsense, which, for the record, I think it's 99% likely that that child never existed. One night, she entered his building and sat in front of his door until midnight, waiting for him to come back home to talk. The neighbor called Rod when she went out to walk the dog and found a sobbing woman she had never seen before on the doormat. When she found out that we were dating, she started spreading rumors that he cheated on her with me. He was cheating on me, for sure, and writing in letters that I was just a replacement to forget her, that he could stop and come back to her now because she forgave him. She called most of his friends just to insult them because if they were real friends, they would tell him to take her back because she was his soulmate, and then proceeded to block them. And my personal favorite, she started a podcast on Spotify using all our real names and surnames. Every single episode was composed by a part where she narrated a part of the story, twisting reality like it was twisted in her mind, like how she was pregnant and he abandoned her, he cheated on her, etc.
Oh my gosh.
A part where she insulted someone, mostly his mother, because, quote, she handled the divorce badly from his father, so he has unresolved issues. His father left when he was a kid, did never be seen again. He calls his dad his mother's current husband that grew him up. And me, as I am, just a pair of unknown thighs in which he thinks he finds comfort. But in reality, he is so unhappy, you can see it from his Instagram stories. You need to seek legal restraining orders against this person. This is like dangerously unhinged behavior. The last part was just her begging him to come back to her and telling him she knows he will come back. We had lawyers involved to make her stop, thank God, and her excuse was that her psychologist told her to open the podcast. Bro, I think she needs a new psychologist because clearly it's not doing anything.
I think the psychologist said, hey, just go in your voice memos and keep it there in a hidden folder. She's like, oh, make it public? Okay, great.
He's like, yeah, your psychologist was like, write letters that you never send. And she's like, oh, great, I'm going to write 15 letters and send all of them. When she found out about the wedding, she told in her podcast that every plan, date, and vendor we had was chosen by her when they were planning their wedding. The problems are he never proposed and they were never even talking about getting married. I chose the date and the vendors, which most of them I know personally for years, and the church and venue were in my little hometown, a 2 to 3 hour drive from where we all live. We still had to hire security in case she showed up, and fortunately she did not. We are on your side, OP.
I believe you, OP, but I'm just like, I would love to see how outrageous the other person is. And now I'm like 95% that you are correct.
Yeah.
Just 95.
No,
I just want to, since there's another perspective out there, I want to see it. That's all I want.
As of today, she still tries now and then to have updates on our lives. She berates him on social media, insulting him, telling lies like he calls her with mute calls just to hear her voice. And we know all of that because she makes sure to tell mutual friends who are unfortunately caught in the crossfire. And there's nothing unfortunate about you being caught in our crossfire when we go live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap on our profile. For all wondering, I know this is the truth because being Rod's friend before, I have literally lived all of this in real time with him.
Oh, God.
I never used social media, but now I make sure to post at least once a month my husband's and my smiling faces while on our little adventures.
Adorable.
You know, just to let her know that this pair of unknown thighs and Rod are still having fun together. Oh, well, you know what, OP? I hope you guys have a beautiful life together. And
you
again,
won.
Get some sort of legally binding thing that prevents this woman from
Defamation.
like, coming near you. I don't know if you can really sue her for defamation or prevent her from speaking on you.
See if you can.
But make it so that if she gets within like 50 feet of you, like you can have her arrested because she sounds borderline dangerous.
Yeah.
She sounds like she's capable of doing something completely unhinged.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
But that's all we got for you on that.
That's the end of that story.
I called my girlfriend a slur for lying about an emergency to test my commitment. Am I the a-hole? This comes from Plain Zebra 4553. My girlfriend, 29 female, Andrea, and I, 29 male, have been together for a few months now. Everything had gone smoothly until yesterday when she pulled off a ridiculous stunt.
There's always an until.
Come on, everything was fine.
Everything was fine.
Until she called me late at night to say that she's seriously injured / having panic attacks and that no one else is with her as her parents are out, which was true. They were out. She said that she's also got some chest pain and she thinks that she's dying and that she's in a really bad state and can hardly breathe. She was heaving while she spoke. She begged me to help her. She said she's already called 911, but that she also wanted to let me know, and I was shocked.
I mean, would you not be?
Yeah, I would go over there immediately.
That's insane.
I took my car to rush towards her house, and it was only after reaching that I found out she was joking. She met me
Joking?
Yeah.
Joking.
She met me joyfully and said that she only wanted to see how committed I am during an emergency, as that's an essential part of a relationship or something.
You want to talk about essential things in a relationship, lady?
How about trust?
How about not lying about you're dying?
Does your boyfriend drop everything if you say that you're dying? If he does, he's a real one.
Yeah. If you're not testing your boyfriend by fake dying, are you really having a good relationship?
Probably not.
No.
I lost my temper. All right, really quick in the comments, is this a good move to pretend you're dying to see if your boyfriend is committed? And have you done anything like that?
Put your answers in the comments. So I lost my temper and asked her what the F her problem was. She said that she was just testing me and I got pissed off. I called her an effing biatch and told her that I did not deserve to be treated like trash and made use of like that. She was crying by saying that she only wanted to check whether I am a good fit and that I overreacted. I left the house immediately and haven't talked to her since. She's been texting me, but I ignored her. Am I the a-hole? There is a juicy update. But is OP the a-hole? Why or why not? I want to know your answers in the comments. But John, what do you think?
I mean, you didn't have to call her that, but like, listen, she did an insane thing.
Yeah.
Insane thing.
Yeah.
It's just so awful. It's so awful.
It might be a red flag. I think that's red flag worthy.
I'm
waving the red flag.
100 red flags over
100
here.
red flag.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely grounds to break up right there.
Yeah, it's grounds to break up. I don't know if I would break up right there, but I might break up within the next couple weeks, like as I reassess everything that the relationship is.
Like take a beat to think about it, but it is absolutely grounds for breaking up 100%.
Yeah. This is something that like a 20-year-old does, not a 29-year-old. Bro, that could be the mother of your children. And yeah, come on. No way. And this is like games, like classic games playing. You don't want to be in a relationship with someone like that. Update. After talking to her about it, I have decided to give her a second chance. What do we think?
Bad. She's giving Delulu.
Audience, let us know.
We should start doing like Dora stuff where it's like, and what do you think? You're right.
She's apologized a lot and promised never to do that again. I'd be more careful, of course, and I won't be trusting her blindly. But I have thought, well, then the trust is broken. That's like not a good thing. But I have thought that I'd give her one chance, especially since she's shown herself to be regretful. And there is another update. So I want you guys to put on your conspiracy hats. Guess, is the relationship going to be great, smooth sailing from here on out? Or is it going to go into a pit of despair?
I think that this relationship is going to absolutely tank to the bottom of the cold, decrepit, dark ocean. That's what I think.
Let me know if you agree with John and put I see you in the chat if you see where this is going. So, first sentence. I should have listened to the signs. As I made a previous post about it somewhere else, and everyone was asking me to break up, but I thought she was genuinely regretful about it at the time, as she'd apologized. I am in huge trouble right now, though. I really don't know what to do, so please help me. Huge trouble. What happened, dude? So she reached out to me 2 days ago to say that she doesn't like me talking to a specific girl at work. And I laughed it off by saying that she's just a friend. She asked me whether I am sure, and I said yes. She did get into an argument in the beginning, but in the end, she said she understands. But today, she apparently told her parents that I had assaulted her yesterday because I hadn't listened when she said she doesn't want to do it or something and called her names. She also informed her friends about it. The gist is that everybody is mad at me and I'm a pariah now. Her friends have turned against me and her parents are threatening to sue me. She said that she's going to sue and she comes from a rich family, which basically means like it's not an idle threat.
Oh.
I'm basically blacklisted from everywhere now and I'm a pariah. All this happened in a few days' time since the first incident, which was her attempting to test my relationship or something, which has me shocked. Anyway, she's going to sue me, can afford the best lawyers, and I am expecting to receive a letter from her attorney anytime now or something. What should I do? Should I just look for another lawyer? I really don't know what to do. Please help me. And that is where this story ends. We don't have any more updates. This last update was pretty recent, so
oh my God.
It's probably still developing, but put your answers in the comments. What should OP do? John, what do you think?
Oh my God, this is an insane situation. I mean, I wonder, does he have enough receipts to like be able to fight this? And
do you have an alibi for like, you know, when she said you guys were together or something? Like maybe you weren't there.
Man, I'm just thinking in my head, if only OP had left at the first sign of insanity. Yeah. You know what I mean? If
he had listened to the Reddit comments.
Yeah.
Reddit is sometimes giving you good ideas.
They sometimes you know, when they tell you to divorce, sometimes you got to do that. Okay?
Sometimes you do.
Yeah.
But I think, now, if this is legit, I think like just like prep, do a little bit of prep.
Yeah.
Because
try to find your own lawyer.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I would try to find a lawyer and just like, maybe nothing will happen, but at least you'll be prepared if it does.
Also, have to do it.
What?
Put on your hat. If he actually did do something, putting this story out here is which, no real way to verify it. That is a very tricky, sneaky way to, I don't know how exactly it would help, but
It wouldn't hold up in court of law, though.
it probably wouldn't hold up in a court of law unless it's,
Unless it's like, oh, look at this guy. Like, he was just looking for advice. He
maybe like
obviously didn't do anything.
the family and people in his local community. Cause it's both the lawsuit and the fact that
But
he's
this is
being
anonymous.
blackballed in his
This
community.
is anonymous. No one knows who he is.
Until he's ready to share. I mean, listen, it's
conspiracy. It's conspiracy.
It's a tinfoil hat conspiracy.
All right. Do you believe in John's conspiracy? I want to know in the comments.
My mom lied and let me believe my cat was missing for 2 months. I am furious at her. Am I the a-hole? This one, it was submitted to r/OKOP show, baby.
Who did it?
Big shout out to Yobi2000, aka Lil Udon. Thanks for sending in a story again. Actually, Riley, if they want to submit a story, where can they send it in?
Oh, if you would want to submit a story, please go to r/OKOP show, put in that nice title, put in those words, and we will read it because I read every single one of them.
That's right. Riley is the gatekeeper. He is the man that will decide if a story gets on this podcast.
Make me laugh, and I'll put you on here. You can even call us and/text us your number and be like, hey, what's good? And what is that number, John?
440-508-6567. Without further ado, let's get into the story. Lil Udon here. What's up? Good to see you again. Sigh, I cannot seem to catch a break. Around 2 months ago, my fluffy cat, Cashew, great name, went missing, or so I thought. I assumed he had gotten through a hole in my mom's floor, and I've spent the last 2 months calling out for him, hoping he would come back.
What?
A hole in the floor. A hole in the floor, Riley. He's gone. I would come into my mom's room late at night and cry that I had failed him and wondering if I was just a bad cat mom. About a month and a half ago, I got more worried because we got the hole fixed. My oldest cat, 2+ years old, is a male cat named Chiron, also got out. And I found him in our yard right next to the house, gone. He had been poisoned by a neighbor down the street who began to leave out a bowl of water with rat poison in it to keep the strays out of his trash.
Oh, dude.
Oh my God. Losing Chiron devastated me, and I spent a day crying on my mom's bed that I had failed to protect my babies and that I didn't deserve my cats. I repeatedly questioned if I should surrender my other cats to a shelter, but ultimately did not because one of them is brain damaged and 3 of them are black cats, so they would not do well in a shelter. My mom never said a word to me until today. For context, about 2.5 months ago, a couple incidents occurred, and long story short, my older biological sister is legally not allowed to be less than 100 feet away from me, nor is she allowed to contact me. Oh my goodness. Well, Lil Udon, if you want to ever share that with us, you know where to reach us. However, she had been holding some of my stuff hostage in her trunk until I agreed to pay for half of a storage unit I had 0 legal claim to. She and my youngest biological sister dropped the stuff off while I was at work and went to get some of my older biological sister's things, which technically means she can't come back because the judge banned her from my mom's property for 2 years, aside from the 1 day she had to collect her stuff. Yes, what she did to me was that bad. Apparently, when they went to collect older sister's things, younger sister saw Cashew and wanted him. Oh my God. Put ICU if you see what is about to go down in the comments right now. They both made my mom promise not to tell me, and my mom let them take him. Oh my God. I only found out today because their mother wanted him gone, and my mom felt a shred of guilt. She says she did nothing wrong because she couldn't stop them, but she snapped at me when I told her she could have told me sooner. First of all, yes, you could have stopped him. You could have been like, no, that's not your cat, and no, I'm not going to lie to OP about it, you know? And B, you could have told her. At least be like, your sister's took your cat.
You can't have a delay in message with this kind of stuff.
She says she never lied to me, but I told her she let me believe he was missing or dead even after seeing what losing Chiron did to me. She told me that she made her promise, and I snapped at her. What kind of monster are you that you would let me believe my cat was dead after you let them take him because you promised them you wouldn't tell me? Am I that unimportant to you and that my tears and my pain mean nothing to you? When I finally got back to him, she went, "Are you happy now?" And I said, "How could I possibly be happy that I'm living with such a lying, empathic snake?"
Ooh.
She told me to shove my animosity up my ass, and I told her to go to hell. I do not have the money to move out right now, and this is currently the only place I am legally safe for my older sister for the next 21 months. She knows this and has told me if I want to stay, I need to shut my mouth and leave her alone about it. My only option is to bite my tongue until I can get enough money to move far away where neither her or older sister can reach me and not let either of them know where I am. I feel so hurt and betrayed, and the way my autism affects me, it feels like I can't process any of it at once. It keeps hitting me in waves, and I don't know how to feel. She is providing me shelter and not charging me rent until I get on my feet. But I feel like what I don't pay in money, I pay for with my mental health. She's hurt me in so many ways over time and recently, but this one just feels like a dull, rusted knife through my heart, and I don't know how to move past it. Oh,
Dude.
Lil Udon, you are part of the OK fam. Let's get some hearts in the comments and maybe just take a second to write a sweet, thoughtful message to Lil Udon and show our love. I am so sorry that you're going through this, Lil Udon. You know, I think even though your mom is giving you a place to stay and is like, you know, not charging you rent or whatever, I think this can often be done as a means of like having something to hold over you. You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, I don't make you pay rent. I'm doing all this stuff for you, blah, 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 blah. You know, you should, you know, listen to me, let me do what I want, et cetera, et cetera. But you definitely don't deserve that behavior. And yes, I think you're right. Your mom is almost like making you pay for it with all of this BS, especially after your first cat. My God.
Gosh.
I am at least glad that she found the cat.
Like, it might be with a horrible person, but like, it's still alive.
We're sending all of our love to you. Hope to hear from you again. I know, Lil Udon, you've sent us some stories in the past. Hoping things turn around. Maybe try some cat content. Who knows? And if any of you watching want to submit a story of your own, head over to r/OKOP show. We would love to hear from you. Love to share some advice, or if you just want to hear us read your story, because we love doing it. Big old Riley will lift up that big rusty gate and let you in, I promise. She was evicted and doesn't know why, but there's something about her boyfriend she doesn't know.
That he is also homeless?
You know, it sounds like that could easily be the case, but why? So I call my stepdaughter's entitled boyfriend Wreck-It Ralph. No relation to the trademark or anything, just coincidental naming. He has a tendency to break, ruin, and tear up everything that he touches. My stepdaughter, who is basically a sweet, enduring young woman who I love dearly, has, like many young women with self-esteem issues, allowed herself to be led astray by Wreck-It Ralph.
I'm gonna wreck it. Wreck your relationship.
Stop, Ralph!
And your family. Ralph, what are you doing? Ralph, why have you turned to the alcohol once again?
In the year they've been together, she lost everything, but at 23, she's old enough to have learned her lessons without us parents coming in to rescue her until she gets rid of Wreck-It Ralph and back on track with her life. When they first got together, they lived with her dad and myself for a few months. It very quickly became apparent that Wreck-It Ralph had a chip on his shoulder, and when it came to me, he would carry tales to my husband, causing us to argue. Despite my husband telling Wreck-It Ralph many times that was my house and everything in it was mine, Wreck-It Ralph would keep asking my husband, not me, if he could have this or that, and that's if he asked at all. He kept getting more and more animals, despite us telling him no more.
What kind of animals?
Alligators, lepers. No. Neither of us were taking care of the ones he had. They weren't buying any dog or cat food or cat litter, so my husband and I were buying all of those. They weren't picking up any of the messes. They weren't training them at all and allowing them to tear up our belongings.
Wreck-It Ralph sounds like the worst.
He got a whole crew, a Wreck-It crew, to like do his bidding for him. Mary Jane, if you know what I'm saying, is legal in our state, and there is a dispensary in our town, and the only work these two do would be door-to-door delivery.
Like they deliver weed door to door? Like are they drug dealers? Are they saying they're drug dealers, but like legal ones?
Hi, Mrs. Johnson. We have a great new product we want to share with you today. This one's called Misty Haze. We're raising money for our neighborhood stepmother, so that way she won't charge us rent and kick us out.
It's like Girl Scout cookies, but like pre-rolls.
But Girl Scout cookies. Her job that had a daily payout was just enough to get money for Wreck-It Ralph to make a purchase at the dispensary every day, along with eating at fast food restaurants. God.
Piece of shit.
Wreck-It Ralph's chip on his shoulder when it came to me was such that they brought my husband a soda one night, walking in the back door right past me, calling out loudly, "We got you a drink. Your favorite soda," to my husband in the living room with zero inclusion of me.
Where's my favorite soda? This is my house. I want my favorite soda.
Hey, sorry, this breathing statue's in my way, but we just got your favorite takeout tonight if you wanted anything. Another example is my stepdaughter asking if she could use my debit card to get the 4 of us drinks at a local convenience store on one hot day. My husband and I were unloading stuff from the truck in the trailer in the backyard, and that was no problem. However, when checking my account, they spent $20 on food for Wreck-It Ralph without asking. The end came when I told them that they had to replace the bedroom door that their dog chewed the bottom out of and refused to allow the pit bull mix they wanted to rescue, even though it had a bite history to enter my home. So they ended up moving to her mother's home at that point. So OP is the stepmom, the daughter. She just went to her bio mom's house. During their time there, my stepdaughter kept getting tickets in her car, which is only registered to my husband. They weren't paying their insurance, which I had bought my stepdaughter her own policy and paid the startup out of with my money when they lived with us. And also they didn't pay the plate renewal. Now her license is getting suspended and it cost my husband and I $600 to get those plates.
$600?
Again, in his name only to get unsuspended.
Dude, Wreck-It Ralph has a hefty bill. He's racking up the charges.
Even outside of the house.
Yeah. Wow. I recently had to get one of those stickers, you know, like the renewal stickers on my car. $400, dude.
Yes.
I was like 4 months late, so that's part of the reason why. But
don't let it expire. That's the key.
Such a Wreck-It move, dude. Such a Wreck-It move.
Plus, they had damaged the car and it needed repairs. My God. So my husband took the car from them before her license was suspended, but after the police took the plates from her car, my husband let her use his truck, which was on my insurance policy. Then Wreck-It Ralph drove that. He had no license and he blew the entire motor in the car.
How do you blow a motor?
Dude.
Is that his fault if you blow a motor?
I don't know.
It sounds like he didn't crash. I don't know much about cars, but if you're blowing motors, your car's probably fucked anyway.
Maybe.
Car people in the audience, how does one blow a motor without crashing?
Let us know. Now that car is sitting and can't be used. I told my husband I would put the car on my insurance for him, but only if he drove it. If he returned it to them, I was canceling the insurance, which I've stood by. Nevertheless, Wreck-It Ralph called daily, demanding my husband return the car to them once it was legal and fixed.
In what world could you demand anything? You are the biggest buffoon in the world, Wreck-It Ralph. What kind of pull do you have? What kind of pull? No pull. Wreck-It Ralph can only pull your daughter, and that's it. Has no pull anywhere else.
But that's the pull that matters. Tragically, that is the one pull that matters.
Yeah, dude. Rough.
After 3 weeks, my husband finally said, "Look, you dumbass, I don't know what it is you think you're trying to accomplish here, but you're not demanding anything from me. Facts, and you're not getting the car back. I may have originally bought it for her before she got with you, but it is my car in my name, and I'm keeping it in lieu of the truck you ruined. Don't call me about the car again. Got it?"
Damn.
Good job, Daddy. We've been hearing of ongoing disputes between my husband's ex and Wreck-It Ralph. Things got so bad there that Wreck-It Ralph told my husband's ex-wife to pack up her stuff and get the F out of her own home. Another time, he told her to shut the F up and remember who she's talking to.
What, Wreck-It Ralph said that?
He said that to OP's bio mom.
Who? I genuinely, like, you know when people say, like, who do you think you are? Like, I actually genuinely want him to answer that question. Like, who do you think you are? If you were to describe yourself and your sense of authority, what would you come up with? Who the fuck are you?
President of the universe that everyone should bow down to? Duh.
Dude, there was this one guy that I knew, or a friend of a friend in college, that did a bunch of acid and then thought he was the second coming of Christ and like got mad when people didn't think he was Jesus and would throw plates at them.
Maybe this guy's just eternally just tripping like crazy.
It is a somewhat prevalent occurrence on large doses of psychedelics to develop a God complex. So maybe he's developed a God complex.
Now that is a moonshot theory there. I like it. Let's see. So we all decided it was time to let our daughter hit rock bottom since she wasn't seeing how Wreck-It Ralph had taken her from being a sweet, lovable, well-liked, and responsible girl in a college nursing program to this person with a criminal history and no prospects at the moment.
Is he hot? He's got to be hot. He's got to be a fucking smoke show.
Yeah.
Right? There is no way this girl is dating a guy with a criminal record that's rude to her family, that's a piece of like living human waste, not doing anything, smoking dope every day. Like there's no way he's not hot, right? He has to be hot.
Let there be one stupid reason.
Like just like one redeemable reason, even though if it's a shallow reason, just let him be hot.
Anything. Don't be ugly. My husband's ex-wife, the girl's bio mom, moved in with her boyfriend, turning the power off at the home that she had been renting. And she told her former landlord, whom she was actually long-term friends with, that she wouldn't allow it to affect their friendship if the landlord evicted her and Wreck-It Ralph for squatting, since neither were on her lease to begin with. When my stepdaughter called wanting to come back, my husband told her she could, but Wreck-It Ralph could not.
Split them up. Yeah, make Wreck-It Ralph single forever. Castrate him, take his penis, put him in the boys' choir so he can sing those really high notes, you know?
God dang. Now they are staying at a homeless shelter in the town where Wreck-It Ralph's mom lives, and Wreck-It Ralph's mom won't let them live with her either. Bro, how do people fall in love with these people? I just truly...
Dude, 8-inch cock.
There it is. You know what? I'll give that one to Sam. I'll give it to him. Ha! I got you. But this has entitled Wreck-It Ralph that she really won't let go of him. And it's really brought her down, and she can do so much better. This guy actually told us once that he couldn't work at a factory that he interviewed at because it was climate controlled and his heart won't allow that. Then he argued with me and my husband that climate controlled meant controlled by the climate. So it was hot in the summer and cold in the winter. Oh, so it was like uncomfortable, basically.
Climate controlled meant that there was no air conditioning and the inside was the same temperature as the outside.
Yes.
He thought climate controlled meant there was no air conditioning. So he's pro air conditioning. He just didn't know what climate controlled means.
The parents had to have him explain. Oh my God. He's evil and an idiot. Oh, we haven't seen him hold a job or do anything useful and productive since they've been together. Just demand from and use the people who love the girl that he has become clung to. And there's a comment that OP responded to. Commenter says, 9 out of 10, he's abusing her in some form. Whatever you do, don't break contact with her. And OP responded to a comment. Commenter says, cameras are a method of collecting evidence and can maybe be used as a deterrent. Certainly doesn't mean that Wreck-It Ralph won't come over. In fact, I assume he doesn't care at all. OP said, I've dealt with that once before and it didn't work out very well for the other person. Yes, he literally broke my surveillance cameras, broke into my home, claimed to be a resident.
I mean, you could sue him. You could arrest him for that.
Yeah, my God. Yeah.
That is breaking and entering.
True. He stole my belongings and threatened me and my spouse. When we contacted the police, who said it was a civil matter, I informed the police in writing with photos of the damage that due to the threats to self, party, and home and property, it now fell into the realm of legally authorized self-defense. I went on to explain that I'm a black belt and trained marksman. True story on both accounts.
I'll have you know, officer, I know karate.
I will chop my enemies in half.
There was someone that was on our call-in. I don't think it might have been with you or might have been on a solo where they were like, yeah, I'm a black belt in like mixed martial arts or in Krav Maga or something. And so my hands are literally lethal weapons. And if I attack someone, I get charged with assault with a deadly weapon.
Really? Is that like a thing?
Is that true, Riley?
Yeah. If you like are a black belt in like any shape or form, you have to register your hands as like weapons.
That's fire. I I love that.
Didn't realize that my hands are registered as lethal weapons.
Oh, shoot. No.
Uh-oh.
No. You said the myth. What? I thought this was real.
Dang. All right.
Been bamboozled. Way to go, Riley, misinforming our legions of loyal followers.
I'm so sorry.
And that since the police could not do anything, I was prepared to use whatever force was necessary. The very next day, warrants were issued for that person. Wreck-It Ralph won't win on that front. On to the update. Well, we are making progress. My stepdaughter recently had court for the license and other car issues. They are staying just across the state line in a small city 30 miles east of us. So my husband and I devised a plan to get her a loan from him. We said the only car running was the 2-seat convertible and could only take her for the court appearance. My husband picked her up and then I took her to her court appearance as my husband had to be at the house for something. On the way, she started talking about how she wanted to break up with Wreck-It Ralph. Okay.
Finally. Jeez.
But she was afraid of the hurt that comes with it. She hated how controlling and untruthful he was, but felt he truly loved her and didn't know if the negative behavior was simply from the stressful circumstances.
If he's acting like that and being a dick, then he doesn't love you in the way that you deserve.
Riley, come on, let's give our boy a round of applause there. Wow.
Have you been in love?
Woo! Tell him, baby.
Have you?
Have you?
Have you freaking been in love?
Wreck-It Ralph, what hasn't?
Wreck-It Ralph hasn't. He loves himself, dude. And being a freaking wanker.
That's right.
British slang, dog.
She said that once he got SR22 insurance and his license back, that he would be able to work and things would be better. I pulled over, pulled out my phone, and went to the court file website for the county north of us where Wreck-It Ralph used to live. I pulled up 6 cases in his name, 3 to do with driving with multiple citations in each of them. The most recent, he was speeding, ran a stop sign, hit a woman, fled the scene, had a suspended license and registration, and had obviously no insurance.
Oh my God, Wreck-It, Mr. Wreck-It. That's insane. Stop wrecking. He can't help himself, dude. You know what he needs to do? He needs to be one of those like managers or like one of those guys at one of those demolition places where you get a bat and you like hit all the TVs. That's his calling.
Yes. He needs to be the like wrecking room instructor and show people how it's done. Wreck-It Ralph was arrested later and had to post bond. The case he had was $4,000 in fines. Plus, we had received a letter at our house from the state stating that he owed $11,000 in restitution to the woman that he hit for damages and that his license was permanently suspended until the restitution is paid. Any related court-imposed fines and state-imposed reinstatement fees was paid along with the proof of the SR22 with 48 hours of release suspension by the state. My husband accidentally opened it. It arrived in the mail and he didn't look at the address. She was deflated and angry, stating that they had talked at length and he never told her any of that, only that he needed the SR22 because he got caught driving without insurance and had to have it before he could get his license back. No surprise at all.
At least he's predictable. Predictably a fucking train wreck, but predictable.
Yes. As someone who used to have my own insurance sales license, I told her, no, you can't get insurance if your license is suspended or revoked, at least not in our state. He would have to get his license valid, then get his insurance mandated with the SR22 reporting. She herself ended up on probation for her driving issues related to him with a 6-month suspension and $750 in fines. And that was a lucky break from the judge, in all honesty. She too will have to get the SR22 once her suspension is over. Afterwards, while I stopped at the store to get stuff for supper, Wreck-It Ralph kept calling and demanding that she come back. Despite plans to have supper with her that evening, she ultimately gave in to the relentless calls and asked her dad to take her back before I could cook. I did verify that yes, she does have an IUD to prevent pregnancies for those who were inquiring. She was very unhappy with her situation and beginning to see him for what he is and how in the year they've been together, he has just brought her down. However, she's not quite at the point of leaving him, but hopefully with any luck, she'll be calling to come home soon. She knows that she has a place here with us, but he does not. And OP responded to one final comment. Despite everything you told her, she still isn't at the leaving him point. Genuinely curious, what would he have to do for her to be at the leaving him point? That is a great question. OP, I don't know. The fact is, she is considering it as a move in the right direction, and we are being supportive without giving any money or enabling the situation in any capacity. The fact that she now has a misdemeanor from driving as a result of his actions really weighed on her. I told her without mentioning it to him, it wasn't the end of the world, but that it was meant to be a learning point, and she got to reflect upon how and why she had gotten into the situation, as well as how to move forward from here. She was receptive. So there seems to be hope.
There's light at the end of this tunnel that is quickly crashing down because Wreck-It Ralph is going into either side of that tunnel, exploding his car and having the rubble of the tunnel collapse. And then the structural integrity is gone. You have to have like an architect come in and like survey. It's like, hey, this needs like reinforced steel beam. Yeah, it's a shit show.
I have to admit, like, I am impressed. Like this man is a one-man Marvel movie, where they just destroy the town into smithereens like every time. Like, he is that guy.
Except instead of like the Marvel movie being like the heroes save the day, and they don't like just talk about the 100,000 people that just died and the trillions of dollars of damage that were done, we are actually seeing and talking about all the damage that is done in this Marvel movie. I actually want to see a Marvel movie where it just focuses on the dude that is just like, my store's done.
Guy, if you ever saw it, was kind of about that, which was a decent movie. But truly a movie about the bystander who just has his office destroyed, and like, I desperately want to see that
These
too.
freaking superheroes trying to save the day, but I just want to sell my pies.
Okay, speaking of destroying, I have one question for everyone watching and for you, Sam. Do you think that OP should continue to basically keep her daughter cut off while she is still with Wreck-It Ralph?
No, I mean, you should still be supportive in some way, maybe not financially, but because you don't want to enable her making this bad decision consistently. Or you also don't want her to feel like she's completely isolated. So like if something bad does happen, like she can still come to you.
Come back, right?
Yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. They've done so much though, too.
Yeah, they've done a lot. I'm actually curious if anyone watching has their own story of a Wreck-It Ralph that's wrecked like their...
Yeah, who is your worst Wreck-It Ralph significant other? Put it in the comments.
I think we have a place for them to send those stories to as well, Sam.
Oh, yeah. If you want to call us at 440-508-6567, and we might read it on the show. We actually have just released our first voicemail call, and as of recording this, and people kind of are loving it so far. So we're probably going to do more.
Could be you.
Could be you. And with that, we'll get into the next story.
Stranger says my deceased husband cheated and he is his secret son. Now he's plotting something, but the DNA test revealed the truth. This is like the ultimate version of sweeping something under the rug. You know what I mean? When you're like, okay, look, I could tell my family about my secret family, or I could just wait till I'm 6 feet under and then it'll be popping up like, hey, I'm your kid. Hey, I'm your kid. My life turned upside down last month when I was informed of my husband's death in a work-related accident. This would, of course, be hard enough to cope with, but shortly before the funeral, there was a young man that came at my house claiming to be my late husband's son. Oh, God, like already you're dropped, like the husband just passed away and now we have like a secret son. Like, read a room, bro. Have you heard of timing? My husband didn't speak a word about him to me. He claimed to have not known about me or either of my daughters, 12 and 8, until he was notified of my husband's death and found the obituary in the online version of our local paper. This young man was 18 and must have been born before I met my husband. He also claimed his own mother passed away years ago and was never to his memory in a relationship with my husband. So the boy's existence is not proof of infidelity on my husband's part. However, I still feel just as betrayed. My husband never breathed a word of him to me. The boy lives in the UK where my husband sometimes worked. I live in the US. He traveled a lot in his line of work, and I can't help but wonder how many other secret children did he have. I mean, run. How many times did my husband visit this boy and never tell me about it? What else was he not telling me? The boy had pictures with himself and my husband at various ages. He says he was brought up at boarding school and my husband visited him sometimes. Though I very much want to, I have no reason to doubt his story. The boy asked to come to the... Well, hold on. So he just shows up at the doorstep and he's like, I'm this man's son. I mean, I guess, okay, he does have some pictures. Are you sure you're not, like, it's not like a cousin or something? I don't know. Look, on this show, we've figured out one thing. Where are the test results? Where is the DNA test? Where is the paternity test? Like, after doing this show and after reading stories like these, y'all, this happens, I would get the paternity test. Like, what are we doing? The boy asked to come to the funeral. I want to say no, but I feel like I have no right. That is hard. Like, if this boy is truly his son, right? Still, there's some seeds of doubt there. Even though it seems like she believes that he is his true son. I don't know. We just don't know for a fact yet. I'm still skeptical, but we'll see. We'll see. My kid sees me talking to the stranger and poke their head in to ask what's going on. Before I can stop him, the boy introduces himself to them as their half brother. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, my guy was already not reading the room. Now he's doing this. He's blowing up the mom's spot. Like, what if, I mean, I guess the kids are like really young, they're 12 and 8, but like now not only do I have to figure out how to cope with all this information myself, but I have to find some way to explain it to my children. Yeah, my 8-year-old doesn't seem to get the full implications of her father keeping this kind of secret from all of us, but my 12-year-old is clearly upset, although she won't talk about it with me. Oh, God, I'm OP's daughter. At the funeral, the boy kind of lurked in the corner, but when lunch was served afterwards, he approached both of my girls and was playing games like tag with my 8-year-old and some of her friends who joined in. I didn't think this was appropriate, and when I told him so, he apologized and said he did it to raise her spirits, and it's what people did for him when his mother passed to cheer him up. Oh my God. My heart is on its last line. The monitor's about to go. Pull the plug on me because I don't know how much more I can take. Something about his answer irked me, and I got the impression he was trying to manipulate me into feeling sorry for him and using my children to do it. That's a good theory. That's a good theory. My mom and my sister came up to help me after I got the news about my husband. Of course, I talked to them about what was going on, and they were shocked. My mom brought up the point that this boy might be after money. All of our important assets were in both of our names, and I am the only beneficiary of his life insurance policy. But I was not sure what could happen if he tried to sue. I asked the boy frankly if money is what he was after, and he said, no, I couldn't take any of your money. You have kids to take care of. It irked me the way he said it, as though I was offering money and he was trying to show how good he was by turning it down. It felt as though he expected me to give it to him anyways. Yeah, you know, when you're over at your friend's house and they're like cleaning or doing the dishes, and you're like, hey, you know, if you need any help, like I'm totally here to do that. And then in your mind, you're like, these dishes, I'm not trying to do that. Just kidding. All my friends, you know, I'm always here to help with your dishes. But yeah, this is like that, but times a million. I asked the boy what he wanted, and he said he wanted to get to know my children because they're his sisters. They might be his sisters, but he is a stranger to them regardless of biological relation. Apparently at the funeral, he told my 8-year-old he was going to ask me if he could take my girls to the aquarium, and so that he got her hopes up about it before I could even make a decision. Again, that is just not, come on, bro. Like, yeah, you're doing too much with stuff like that. I said yes, only if my mom and sister went with them, because I wasn't about to let my girls go with a strange man no matter what. And we still don't know if he's the full blood relative yet, or half brother, whatever. Over the next week, he took my girls to the park, ice cream place, and the lake with my sister as a chaperone every time. I agreed to this, and it was helpful because it gave me the chance to break down and cry to my mom without the girls around. Oh, OP, my heart goes out to you. When he left and my 8-year-old hugged him and told him not to go, and he said, I promise I'll come to visit again. I stepped in and said, no, I think it would be best if you didn't come back here. He looked hurt and my 8-year-old cried, but I was sick of seeing him promise things without getting approval. She thinks it's a cool mystery, like from a TV show, that she has a secret brother, and she doesn't realize how disturbing it is that her father hid his existence. Yeah, like, I don't know. Put down in the comments below, would you in that moment have like said it in front of the two of them? My sister asked me later why I told him not to come back, and I told her I think the whole thing is weird. I don't know this boy or his real intentions. He could be some kind of weirdo trying to get my girls alone. That is very true. My sister says I judged without ever getting to know him, and he seems like a very sweet young man. He grew up mostly without a family, and he could have been jealous that my girls got all of his father's attention, but instead he wanted to connect with them. That is also very true. Like, I mean, this kid, you know, basically grew up very, very, very limited time with his father, it seems. So, I don't know. This is crazy. My opinion is that even if those are his intentions and he's totally innocent, I still don't want him around my home or my girls. To me, he is just proof that my husband lied to me for years, and it makes me sick to look at him. My girls don't need this drama either. And even my 8-year-old is going to be traumatized once she is old enough to realize how much her dad was hiding. Me or my girls don't owe him anything. My sister says that I don't want him in my life, but I don't have the right to deny the girls their brother. She pointed out social workers do everything they can to avoid separating siblings because of the trauma. I said it's not the same thing because my girls have only known this brother for a week. My sister said it's also important because my girl's brother is now the only person they know of their culture, quote unquote. My husband was like 1/8 Hawaiian, the rest white and Asian. So the girls and their brother are 1/16. The boy appears to be white, and my daughters and I are black. But this boy was raised in the UK, and he isn't part of Hawaiian culture. And honestly, I think culture is something natural and not something to force because of genetics. My girls don't live in Hawaii. They live in Oregon. So that is their culture, not quote unquote black culture or quote unquote Hawaiian culture. I don't force myself or my girls to participate in African culture just because of our genetics. I thought my 8-year-old would get over her brother, and she did go several weeks without asking about him. But yesterday she asked about him again. I feel bad about ever allowing them to go anywhere together and bond. Yeah, that's tricky. You're in this rock and a hard place now where it's like you don't want to kind of continue this relationship because I don't know. I mean, it's yeah, y'all, I need your take. This is really what I need here. I wish I'd handled the whole thing differently, and now I don't know how to explain the situation to my kids. My 12-year-old hasn't asked about her brother, but she has been extremely closed off since her father's passing, and I don't know how this issue might be complicating what she's feeling. I just need some outside opinions to know what to do about this. It seems people were also torn about this. So most comments were calling original OP the a-hole or saying that she needed to allow her daughters to know their brother. Some people asked the original OP why she didn't ask for a DNA test, to which she replied, I thought about maybe asking the boy about a DNA test, but I don't know what it would achieve. I don't want him in my life or my daughter's life either way. And even if the DNA test came back negative, it would only raise more questions. And I don't know if it would open up any legal troubles where now I owe the boy money from my husband's estate if it comes back positive. Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know if we have any lawyers watching right now. But yeah, what is the situation with if a child is proven to be related that kind of comes out of the woodwork like this? Are they entitled to anything? I guess specifically in the States, but he was in the UK. Feel free to drop down in the comments your take below, because I do not know what would happen here. And in response to the comments about it being a scam, she initially made these edits to her post. Well, the comments are alerting me now to how this might be a scam attempt, and that has opened my eyes. I didn't want to introduce the stranger to my kids, but when he showed up to deliver such shocking news to my children, came in and asked what was going on, he introduced himself before I could think about how to tell my children. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, generally in any of these scenarios, I feel like if someone is claiming to be a relative or something, especially at a time of passing something like this, my initial reaction would have been like, okay, let's get a DNA test and see if this is real. He asked if he could show up to the funeral, and I felt like I couldn't say no to that, but then used it as an in with my children. He offered to them behind my back to take them somewhere, so then I would feel like the bad guy if I said no. It rubbed me the wrong way way, but I brushed it off. I was in a vulnerable state, not thinking clearly, and he took advantage of that. I should have trusted my instincts from the beginning. The idea that there could be scammers that prey on grieving families is just so horrible. I had no idea of such a thing. You gotta be pretty scum of the earth to do that kind of stuff. I've contacted a lawyer to figure out how to establish if there is truth to his story and what my legal obligations are to the boy. I'm also going to have a long talk with my sister to see if in their outings he had done any kind of prying that might have led to him learning information about my family that he could use somehow. I'm already in the process of getting therapy for my children and myself. That's actually something I was going to mention earlier. I mean, there's already a lot of traumatization, I think, for these poor children. They're 12 and 8 years old. They just lost their father. I'm just very glad to hear that OP is putting her children through therapy, because I definitely think that they deserve that. Edit number 2, people have been saying a lot of nasty things about me, and I don't think I'm going to get much more productive input on this, so this is going to be my last opinion on the topic. I've considered taking the post down, but I decided to leave it up so people can be aware that scammers operate like this. They can be so good at what they do, even hundreds of third-party outsiders will take the scammer side. In hindsight, I can't believe I didn't see it, and I cannot believe I ever let such a person step foot in my home or even speak to my children. Apparently, the goal was not to ask for money right away. It was to get close to me and my children and ask me for money later for a fake emergency. Other commenters have elaborated on how this works. If my daughter asks about her brother again, I'll tell her that she was tricked. I don't want to do that to her unless I'm completely sure. So I'm likely going to be asking the boy for a DNA test, birth certificate, etc. However, not until I have the chance to speak to my lawyer. All right, y'all. There's a big, juicy, seeping, bursting at the rims update. But we gotta take a pause. We gotta take a breather. I mean, I can see why OP is so torn. And it's definitely easy to sit here and be like, okay, we can critique, the different choices of like, should she have put up a hard wall immediately? Should she have asked for the DNA test initially? It's easy to kind of pick apart, but I think one big thing to remember is she is in major grief probably. And then also, I guess you could almost kind of put it in a similar category as grief, finding out that her husband hid this lie, which it seems really bothers her, which is very understandable. Yeah, I don't know where I would be at in this type of situation, because there's just so many emotions and you're probably so charged while you're going through these things, and you're like, all you want is just to be able to sit down and be like, let me just process this. Let me just, I don't know, like have some peace. In fairness to the boy too, like let's say we still don't have the DNA test results. If this really was his father, if his father visited him and he didn't get a chance to see him, and he's seeing these two girls that grew up with the father. Oh, if any of you have stories like this, I'm very curious for you to share your thoughts and opinions below, and maybe share your story as well. You can share it in the comments. Also, we have r/OKOP show, our subreddit, where we've been reading a lot of y'all's stories. I don't know. This is just an insane situation. It seems like all of the main people are going through a lot, and I just feel sad for them, guys. I feel sad. But we have something else. The update. I was wrong, and I was the a-hole. My husband's son, I wasn't trying to demean him by calling him the boy, I was avoiding using names, was telling the truth. Oh, my husband's name wasn't on his birth certificate, but the DNA test did show that he was related to my kids. He also had more photos, cards, voicemails, and tons of evidence to prove that my husband did keep in regular contact with him. Okay, so maybe even a lot more contact than we initially thought. Apparently, the son's grandparents were his legal guardians. My husband occasionally gave them cash under the table child support. I did notice that my husband would sometimes make large withdrawals when he went overseas. He said it was because the shops there didn't take his car. Hearing this now, it makes it sting that much harder that he did keep this lie from his wife. And it's like, why? Because if he had the kid, even OP said 18 years, that was outside of the window of their relationship. Why did he not tell her? Why? I wanted to believe it was a scam because I thought it made more sense than my husband having lied. Talking to my husband's son a bit more revealed that he'd been lying to him too. Apparently, he told him he was a cowboy and a pro football player. Then when my son Googled him, he switched to saying that he was a gangster who had done prison time. What the what? This guy was already like going to piece of shitville, but my mayor just became the president, prime minister of Scumville. bag. And we always say on this show, were there no 0 red flags? Come on. Needless to say, none of that is remotely true. I can't fathom what could possess him to behave this way. Lying to me, lying to his kid, not raising his kid. I'm questioning everything my husband ever told me and wondering if it was me who passed away, would he have abandoned our kids as well? I felt horrible for this boy. I'm in therapy and working on ways to cope and forgive my husband for my own peace of mind. She's helped me work out why I reacted to my husband's son the way I did. I thought he was manipulating me and my kids, but what I actually sensed was that he wanted something from me and my kids. I felt like me and my daughters were not in a place to give anything emotionally or financially, so I recoiled for him, but that doesn't mean that he's a threat. My kids went to therapy as well. My 12-year-old has weekly sessions. However, my 8-year-old hated it, so I've pulled her out for now. Many people have shared their own stories of being separated from bio relationships and the effect that it had on them. I don't understand it because genes don't mean that much to me. However, I don't have to understand it to respect it. I personally don't feel like I'm in any place to have any kind of relationship with my husband's son, and I don't think he wants one with me. He now appears scared of me, which I do feel bad about. I wasn't trying to hurt him or scare him, but I will allow him to visit sometimes if my girls want to see him. Sister agreed to continue to supervise. As far as money goes, the lawyer advised me that there aren't many assets that the son is entitled to because they were in both my and my husband's names, except for a few investments accounts that were only in my husband's name. Thankfully, they weren't the majority of our savings. I know people think I'm an evil witch for caring about money, but I needed to feed, clothe, and educate my own children. Whew, man, there's a little bit more, but really quickly, this poor kid, he's going through his own grieving, you know, probably did not know his father or have a relationship with his father to the degree that he wanted to, is in pain seeing these kids also have that kind of relationship with him, probably just yearning for some sort of connection, specifically a familial connection, given that he didn't have as much time with his dad as it seems he would have wanted to. Oh God, this is just one of those where everybody loses, guys. I want everyone to win. Let's keep going. I don't feel like I really count as a step parent. I don't know if I'm in the right place for this. When I went to other subs for advice, it felt like an angry mob, and I'm hoping people might be able to relate to some of the things that I'm going through. I didn't know my husband had a son until after I became a widow. His son is 18 and lives in the UK, where my husband regularly visited him without telling me. My husband apparently kept our family, myself and my 2 daughters, 13 and 8, a secret from his son as well. The son found out about us after my husband passed away and showed up at my door to introduce himself. I didn't handle it well at the time. I was in a fog and not prepared to process anything, let alone the fact that my husband had been hiding a secret of such magnitude from me. I let him get close to my daughters, but when he said he would come back to visit, I reacted negatively and told him not to come back. After talking things through with my mother and sister, I realized I didn't have the right to keep my daughters from their brother. They wanted a relationship with him. I reached out to the boy to confirm his story and decide on a time to visit. It was supposed to be late next month. Okay. My sister was supposed to come out and help and supervise all interactions between my children and their brother, because I am not mentally prepared to be around him, and I'm not sure I ever will be. Even though I know my feelings are irrational, I honestly want nothing to do with this boy. I know my husband's behavior is not his fault and that he is a victim too, but even just looking at his face is a reminder that my husband lied to me for our entire relationship. If I had known he had a child, I might have chose a different life. I got pregnant in college with my oldest. He was older and with a stable job and able to provide for me and my child. He made all these promises that he'd take care of me, take care of our baby, he'd help me get through college, and he'd be the good father he never had. And he already had a child that he wasn't raising. If I had known that, I might have terminated the pregnancy and walked away. I fell in love with him when he said those things, and now I feel like the person I fell in love with never even existed. I don't know if he ever loved me or our kids. I don't know if he was playing a game with us or using us to build an image. I don't know if he was faithful to me on all of these overseas trips. I can't trust anything he ever told me anymore. None of this is the son's fault. He's innocent. I know that, but even remembering his existence brings up so many feelings I can't deal with, which is why my sister said that she would help supervise. She played chaperone when my husband's son was getting to know my kids. Eventually, she said she'd be willing to do it again. We picked a time and she said that she would be there. Today, she tells me that she can't do it. Oh man. Her job is understaffed and she can't get the time off work. My mom can't do it either. She has a surgery coming up and won't be able to travel. My dad will also need to be home to take care of her. I am not leaving my kids alone with their brother, what my sister suggested, since he is frankly still a stranger to me and to them. There might be a 99% chance that he's pure intentions, but that 1% chance isn't one I'm willing to take. There are all kinds of stories out there about children being abused from trusted family members. Yes, absolutely. So my only options are to cancel this visit, which my kids, especially my 8-year-old, are looking forward to. And I don't want to take away one of the few things they've been able to feel happy about since my husband passed away, or, okay, be the chaperone myself. I thought she was about to cancel it. This would also mean I need to take time off work. I could manage, but it's not ideal. I just don't think I can do it. I didn't choose to be a stepmother. I'm sure the boy doesn't want me as one either. I apparently scared him when I told him not to come back and when we talked on Zoom, since he acted nervous and flinchy, like he was afraid I was about to hit him or something. I feel bad about that as it wasn't my intention. I don't think I can do this. I feel like the meeting is a disaster waiting to happen. Like it's only a matter of time before I lose my temper and ruin the meeting that my kids have been looking forward to. I just have this feeling of dread. I don't know if anyone can help. Maybe it's a long shot. I have therapy on Thursday and I hope it'll help me sort some things out. I feel like I just can't do this. It's humiliating to even share this problem with anyone. And even if I try to talk things out with one of the few people I do trust, it's always think about your kids, think about your husband's son, put yourself in their shoes. People even show more sympathy for my husband than me. Maybe it was a coping mechanism for his childhood trauma. Maybe he has a good reason. I'm just burnt out on putting everyone else first and trying to fill the role of both parents for my kids right now. I feel like it's only so long before I snap and the rope is just getting a lot thinner. Edit, thank you for all the kind words and advice. When I posted, I was thrown for a loop and on the verge of a mental breakdown. Having had some time to sleep on it, I feel like things are going to turn out okay. I'll look at some of the suggestions, such as a professional nanny / babysitting services to go along with them. That makes a lot of sense. My sister has also said that she might be able to work remotely during those weeks and be able to supervise while the kids hang out in his hotel room, McDonald's, library, or somewhere else while she can work while watching. Not ideal because it means they would have to cancel some planned activities. Canceling or postponing the trip would be a last resort. I won't make any decision rashly. I'm going to take a few days to think about things, talk it out with my therapist on Thursday, and have a definite answer by Monday. It might not be possible for me to supervise. At first, I was panicked because I didn't think I would have to and I felt unprepared, but I might be able to psych myself up for it with time. I've been through much worse trials than this. Sometimes I just need to remind myself that I'm stronger than I feel. I appreciate the kindness and civility from this community. I wasn't sure if my post belonged here, but you all seem much more understanding than other subs, and I truly appreciate it. And y'all were here, the final update. I don't think I'm going to post in this community more as I don't really count as a step parent, but I've got some kind words from people here previously. I just wanted to say thank you all for being kind to me and presenting me with solutions when I was overwhelmed and panicking, and to let you all know how the visit went. So it happened. He stayed for about 1.5 weeks. Before he came over, we talked a few times on Zoom with me, him, and his grandparents. I told him my sister was not going to be able to supervise, and I was frank about how apprehensive I was feeling about being the one to supervise. I don't think he was thrilled about me supervising either. He knew and felt comfortable with my sister and not me, so the feeling was mutual. But we decided to go ahead with the visit anyways. We made a few changes in what they had previously planned when my sister was going to supervise, but not many. We also discussed contingency plans for if something went wrong and one of us needed space. Just knowing that I would have an out if I needed was a huge relief and helped me immensely. Overall, things went relatively well and he and I were civil. I got uncomfortable, but not to the point where I couldn't cope. He and my girls got along well, with the exception of one incident where my girls got into a spat with each other and he tried to intervene, which made them both mad at him. Hey, happens. But it was quickly resolved after each girl had their time stewing about it. I will say he was very good with both of my girls, especially my 8-year-old, who has been having a very difficult time lately, even before her father passed away. She's been struggling a lot with school and trying to find the right treatment for multiple diagnoses. She's been acting out and very easily frustrating for a lot of the adults in her life, including me, I admit. I love her and I do my best, but she is difficult sometimes. With her brother, it seems like they're kindred spirits or something. He was a real trooper acting out scenes from the movie Encanto with her over and over. That is cute, y'all. That is the dose of adorable that we needed. My goodness. I realize it is probably really good for her to have an adult in her life who doesn't want anything from her except to spend time with her. My Grinch heart after this story just grew 3 sizes bigger. Yes, thank you. Before the boy left, I gave him a thank you card expressing this to him and that I do genuinely hope he chooses to stay involved. Overall, it was a positive thing, and I'm glad that he went ahead with the visit. And thank you to those of you who left supportive comments. It was a much better experience posting here than when I've tried to seek advice in other subs. Oh man, did I lie to y'all? Did I fib? Did I cap? Yes, this is the insanity section of Reddit over here, guys. Oh my goodness. We've reached the end. We have come to the conclusion. So a few thoughts here. I feel like OP went on her own personal journey of like, you know, being apprehensive, letting it happen, then coming back around and realizing maybe there were certain ways in which she handled it that was maybe very hurtful for her husband's son, who again is also like the victim in this scenario, is actually her husband's son, etc., etc. And that, you know, the kids are able to reconnect because look, all of the children have lost their father. OP has lost both her husband and really like the memory of her husband because now she can't really trust anything that he said or did for her in their relationship. The fact that maybe there is a silver lining here where the three siblings can build a relationship together with each other coming out of a kind of awful situation. I'm really hoping and praying that is the consolation prize, I guess, of sorts in this scenario, because it's just so hard on everybody. Like everybody was just going through, it's just very traumatizing for every single person with their respective experiences. And I just really feel for them. Again, y'all, please drop your thoughts on this below. And if you have any, you know, secret surprise family, we would love to hear from you, hear your perspective on this one. Please comment below and share your thoughts, share your own personal experiences. Also, if you want us to read it on the show, go to r/OKOP show on our subreddit, drop it in there. My goodness, y'all, I'm gonna need a sip of water. I need some agua to hydrate myself. But you know what? Let's get into the next one. I'm demanding a paternity test for my wife. I don't have proof. I just want it. But she revealed a truth that might destroy our family. There have been too many times on this show and in the universe where the guys are like, I don't think this baby looks like me. Please understand. 1, 9th grade biology, and number freaking 2. Why do you do this with no proof? Me and my wife of 3 years have a baby girl and she's 2. They're my world, and honestly, I've been beating myself up even having these thoughts, but recently I've doubted that she's really my biological daughter. Oh, buddy, please tell me you have a reason. We have similarities, but there are certain things that have me second guessing. My wife and I both have green eyes. I'm mixed and she's Italian and American. My baby has brown eyes, and I know it's possible for 2 green-eyed parents to have a brown-eyed baby, but I've read it's rare. At least this guy is red, okay? That's more than I can say for 99% of these stories. A few years back, I had to travel for work, and I had my suspicions that my wife was cheating, but the thought alone brought me to tears. I've discussed it with her, and she assured me that she was loyal to me. She has cheated in her previous relationships, but I didn't want to judge based on that because she was in high school, and we've all done dumb we regret as kids. Yeah, like the high school stuff, you really can't, I think, pin that to people. We've talked about that before on this show. It's like, you're just too young. In a lot of these scenarios, it's like stupid, silly you know what I'm saying? I've discussed my concerns with her, and to say I cause an argument would be an understatement, sharing about his doubts of the child being his. She got extremely upset and asked me how I could insinuate that she would ever cheat on me or that my baby isn't mine. I've spoken to her in the past about my doubts, and she told me she would never cheat. I brought it up again and said I had my doubts, but I'll drop it, and apologized. She got very defensive and started crying. I guess you want a paternity test since you don't believe me. Man, again, like, where is it coming from? If you catch some texts of, you know, where your wife and your personal trainer are like, hey girl, let me see some of those progress pics. Yeah, there are times you find evidence, all these things. Yes, but we just don't have a lot of context here, buddy. Like I'm a little lost with you. I said no, but after speaking with my family about it, I think I may want one just to clear my mind. If she's mine, I'll hate myself for ever being doubtful, but if she's not, I still haven't thought about the consequences that can bring. Bro, you're literally saying like, oh, I haven't thought the consequences. Think about them now. now. Take the time, pour some tea, sit down, grab a journal. She is my daughter and I love her no matter what, but what would that do to my marriage? This has caused me so much internal conflict and I've spent nights crying thinking I could be making the biggest mistake of my life. You could be. If anyone has any advice or has been in a similar situation from mine or from my wife's perspective, it would be greatly appreciated. There is a big update. One thing I will say is we've seen some really bad cases of this. What has happened? He seems to have a little more wherewithal than our average protagonist in these kinds of stories. But man, it's just, when you ask for a paternity test, you just gotta be ready. You are insinuating not only did your partner cheat on you, but they also had a child with someone else, hid it from you, and are coercing you basically into raising this child. Like, that is the implications of when you ask for a paternity test. There are, of course, other times on this show where someone walks into a room and they're getting plowed down going to Pound Town, and yeah, okay, there you go. There's some evidence to arouse some suspicions as well as some other things, if you know what I mean. But maybe we'll get the DNA test and see. Usually we do, but without further ado, let's get into this update. Comment below with this timestamp if you think that the baby is OP's or not. Update. I don't know if this is the right way to make an update post. I did make an edit on my original. I wasn't expecting to make this update, especially the day after. This conversation with my wife isn't new, but from the point where I made the comment, she's been very cold and threatening our marriage, saying I better not get the test done behind her back, and she would not allow it to happen at all. I read comments from a lot of women saying that they'd be pissed too either way if the test was positive or negative from mistrust. So I thought that was the case. I mean, if it turns out that the kid isn't his, then that's very bad from the wife's perspective too, right? But let's keep going. Did have a long conversation this morning. She looked through my phone last night and found the post. That's what sparked the conversation up again. She said she was hurt that I would keep bringing this up and I should trust her and leave my insecurities behind. It was a long conversation. A lot of tears and words were said. I offered marriage counseling and dropped the topic of the DNA test. She refused and said it's ridiculous and doesn't want to involve anyone else in our marriage. Okay, counseling and receiving therapy and things of that nature, that is perfectly fine. That honestly makes me raise a flag. Like, Opie's wife is obviously very adamant about not getting a DNA test and all these other things, which in many ways is understandable, but with no counseling, that is kind of like, what's the issue? Why not involve a professional who helps people for a living try to sort through their marriage and get a set of outside eyes? Like, I don't know, for me, like, always getting a set of outside eyes on anything, I especially think in really deep interpersonal things where it's so easy to get caught up in our own emotions, is like a win. I would say that's a big fat positive. I read a lot of comments and stories saying that sometimes the guilt will get to them and they'll just confess without needing to do a test. I didn't think that would happen in my case, but it did. Oh no. She told me that she didn't want this to happen, but she did cheat on me. And my daughter is not mine. Oh my God. Did you guess it right? Didn't even need the DNA test. Ooh, damn, Daniel, damn. Oh God. I can now, and I was beginning to piece it together a little bit with like, wait, no counseling. You were very adamant about no DNA tests, and like the way you were adamant about it, you know what I mean? She said she wanted me to be the father and loved me and thought this would be her best option. Oh, the best option to lie to someone and have them raise a child that isn't theirs. The best option? For who? For whom? She didn't want me to take a test and find out on my own, which I wish she would have come clean way before. Yes. Like, I don't know, before the baby's born? I didn't know how to respond, but asked who the father was because my mind is already making a million assumptions. She didn't tell me and began crying more, telling me not to hate her and not to end the marriage. Okay, what do you got for us? Oh my God. I feel like I'm hosting a kids show and it's like, freaking Barney, like, hey kids, guess what surprise Barney's got hiding for you around the corner? And it's divorce papers. I don't love you. You don't love me. me. We're divorced, no family, and I'll kick you out from my house. Fuck you. I hate you. You hate me too. I didn't say anything again, waiting for the answer. This happened early this morning, and I didn't get the answer until this afternoon. I had to leave for work this morning, so when I came back, she had calmed down a bit and was ready to tell me. Her answer was probably the last thing I was expecting. She cried while saying this, but she said a few years back, I went on a business trip and she slept with my father, who she ran into on a drunk night. What would the DNA test have shown? Obviously not close enough to be the son, his son, OP's son, but oh my God. Oh my God. And you didn't tell him anything. No wonder she was so defensive. My father passed away in December from colon cancer when he was 45. That is young. He did meet my daughter, half sister, his daughter, I don't know, but never said anything clearly. She said they both decided it was a dumb mistake, a major understatement. That is a major understatement. And it'd be best to erase it and play me as being the father. Why? This man deserves to know the truth. This isn't his child. You had it with his father. Father, you should tell your son the truth because he's your son and you impregnated his wife and are having him raise the baby and not knowing. God. Me and my father never had the best relationship. I grew up with my single mom, but he was present in my life, and when he passed, it hurt my family a lot. So hearing this broke me. I am currently staying with my brother. I haven't spoken about what I've learned with anyone, even him. I don't think I've fully processed, so coming here to write this felt good, like a good place to get my thoughts out. I didn't say anything after she told me that and just left after she finished explaining. I don't know where I even go from here. I don't want to abandon my child while she's technically my half sister. God, but I do need time to process this. I don't think any amount of marriage therapy will fix this. So divorce is my next step. That is fine, bro. Go for it. Divorce, divorce, divorce. Our poor man OP over here. I am going to seek a therapist for myself and help myself so I can be there for my daughter. Oh, my heart. Here it is. Exploding. Cannot process all these emotions. Oh man, this is crazy. So we had OP who in the beginning, you know, I was like, is he one of the Manosphere guys that were one of his brosifs? You know, hit him with an Andrew Tate link, Hustlers University, and then he's just going crazy. I feel like he had more suspicions than the context than he explained, or maybe it was just a feeling that he had, but that he couldn't quite articulate. But because it is kind of interesting to me that he suspected it, even though the son was actually related to him or the baby. So low-key impressive. That I feel like I would never be able to tell. My God. And then how on earth, how on the universe could the father, OP's father and OP's wife think that was possibly, I mean, it's a lie. And doesn't he deserve to know the truth? And OP's wife, like living with that is crazy. OP's father, you know, passing away and not saying anything. Holy moly. Good gravy golly. Well, if let me guys, you know, your thoughts down below, please. I would love to hear your perspective and any of your craziest cheating stories, or you know what, maybe you did a little dirt yourself. Feel free to throw those stories in the comments below. A craziest cheating story. My guys, I'm gonna need some of this agua, but let me chug this.
We found my mother-in-law's secret stash of stolen food.
Ooh, a secret stash, you say?
Who did she steal it from?
Ooh.
We are at my mother-in-law's for a couple of weeks because our house is being renovated. Now, only a couple of days have gone by and it is already a drama. I won't go into that. By the way, this comes from Itch That Needs Scratch. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKStorytime subreddit. So, 3 days ago, my fiance made a cake for all of us. She just wanted to be kind. My mother-in-law tried the cake, said that she doesn't really like it, and that it's too chocolatey. Ain't no such thing.
Too chocolatey has got to be the best.
Too chocolatey?
insult.
That being said, not that I count or that I don't want her to eat from it, but she basically ate half of the whole cake in 24 hours.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
She's like, it's too chocolatey. Nom, 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 nom. She's like, it was probably like, no, guys, it's so chocolatey. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna like
Tastes
it.
like poison, guys.
I'll
I had to
eat
make
it.
sure it tasted like poison.
Yeah, it's trash. I'll eat it all.
I
The
was
other
just
half,
doing a
poison.
Public service.
Yeah.
The next day, she said that now she's going to make a cake. I thought that she must have been feeling sorry that she ate so much and that she wanted to make up for it. She made a cake and put it on the table. All three of us took a slice and ate it. It wasn't bad. So now 3/4 of the cake remain on the table. Yesterday, I walked out to the kitchen and all 3/4 of the cake disappeared. This is like what it feels like to live with Sam.
Where what?
Just all of my baked goods and Christian, actually.
Disappears?
Yeah, I make baked goods and they're gone.
That's
in a
funny.
day.
I put my hat places and it's gone
It's
as well.
gone. Yes, well, maybe you should have put it in the cabinet.
Where it belongs.
I immediately asked both of them. My fiance said that she only ate one more slice. My mother-in-law was very intimidated, and she only said that her friend was over from the neighborhood and she gave her the cake so that it doesn't dry out. It was a very crappy excuse, but okay, we went with that. Okay, who are you, OP? The cake police? OP, your mother-in-law made that cake. If she wants to give it to someone else, that's her prerogative. I don't think this is such a big deal.
We might be dealing with the arbiter of cake.
Yeah, OP's like, oh, she ate all the cake. She liked the cake. It was yummy. Okay.
To be fair,
She did insult it
cakes
first.
are meant to be enjoyed by all.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
you snooze, you lose.
I'm right
Today
here.
in the morning, we were searching for cloth hangers in the house because we needed more in our room. My mother-in-law was at work and we texted her if we could check her clothes cabinet for hangers. She said, of course. When we opened the cabinet, there were 2 plates in it. Both the cakes that my fiance and the one she made were on it. Next to them, a spoon and traces that she had been eating them there. Traces like little crumbs.
So the cake is still there?
It's still
just-
there. She's just eating it slowly in the closet.
Shh, that's not allowed. That's not allowed.
She's a little hoarder. She's hogging all the cake.
You can't hog all of this.
She's got
well,
a cake
yeah.
shrine.
This is I don't know about this. We both got furious and waited for her to come home and talk to her. I think it's really funny that they're furious. They're like,
Yeah.
the cake! No! You can't eat all the cake!
Or maybe this is like a once a year type
me,
situation,
I don't know.
and every other day they're just eating boiled chicken and white rice.
I don't know if I would be furious about this though, unless it were that
If
scenario.
all I ate was
It was
boiled chicken and
rice
fried
and-
rice.
But
Not
then-
even fried,
yeah.
just white.
I don't know if I would be furious in this situation. I think I would be concerned. I'd be like, you don't have to, like we can put a thing that says
Yeah.
mother-in-laws don't eat. Like it can just be
Why do you
yours.
have shame cake in your closet?
Eat in the open. Thank God that I told my fiance that she should take a photo of it because when she arrived home and we told her what we found, she told us that we can't go to her room anymore and that we found nothing. Then we showed her the picture. We found nothing. She's like, you didn't see anything. And they're like, we have proof. She was very aggressive and embarrassed and couldn't really know what to say. We fought about it and she went away. We don't know what to think at this point. Is she afraid we're going to eat it from her? She wants them all for herself. We didn't talk since then, but I don't know where to go from here. Do we stay? I couldn't believe she would do something like this because she's not obese or a food to act like this. She barely eats throughout the day and she's pretty fit. Edit, I don't think she has an eating disorder. She barely eats normally and she's very thin. Dude, what? I feel like this guy's like, I don't think she has an eating disorder because she doesn't eat that much. She barely eats, honestly. You can have eating disorders both ways.
Buddy, wake up.
I think she has some problem with sharing with people. She always thinks about herself. In the past, whenever we went out somewhere, she demanded that she was in control of where we go. Otherwise, she gets angry. Also, she's never satisfied with anything that we or her new boyfriend do. We can do everything for her, but she always finds something to complain about. Also, she has a list in her head of what things she buys in the fridge, and if one day we buy proportionally less, she tells us that she thinks we should have bought XY because she too bought YX. Or in restaurant, once she pays, the next time we are paying, she would order 3 times the amount she can eat so that she can bring it home. Oh, like would order more when the OP is paying or something?
I can't.
Saying
I
not
can't.
to waste. I'm not sure.
I
She
guess.
clearly has something going on with her, but doesn't matter how we tell her. She thinks that we are attacking her or that we are making up stories of what she did or does. We can't really speak to her. And there is an update. I posted a story yesterday about my mother-in-law hiding our cake and even her own from us. You can have been reading about it. I got a lot of responses, so I'll debunk this for you guys. General update. Pretty much the whole day yesterday was awkward because my mother-in-law had an attitude. Anything she did, she was slamming everything together and making a terrible loud loud noise, not talking to us, and only giving passive-aggressive comments. In the evening, we called her to the table, and very calmly, we apologized. We tried telling her that she might need to see a professional. Not the first time we've told her this, but again, she stood up and told us to leave her alone. Today, we woke up and she acted like nothing happened yesterday. In concern to eating disorders, a lot of you suggested that she has an eating disorder. Okay, at this point, I can accept that fact, but that's not the only problem she has. I clearly wouldn't make such a fuss about a cake if there was no other reason to be upset. The reason I'm upset is that she's always coming up with some drama and she's always draining us with it. Why don't we go elsewhere? When we talked about moving somewhere, we never even thought about moving in with her. We wanted to move in to my college friend's apartment that he rents, but without us even mentioning anything, my mother-in-law said that we should move in with her. After we moved in, on the first day, she mentioned that she offered us her house because she feared we would move into her ex-husband's house, aka my father-in-law's. This is idiotic because my father lives ludicrously far away from us. Anyways, the reason we settled on my mother-in-law's house was that in the end, my fiance said it would be a nice opportunity to reconnect with her mother after all these years of only seeing each other 2 to 3 days every 9 or so months. She also thought we could save some money that we would have spent on rent. Needless to say, we are not really reconnecting. At this point, I would rather have spent the extra money. And history, my fiance told me about her childhood and she said her mother was always like this. Plus, even worse. She mentally mistreated my fiance and totally destroyed her self-esteem. With a mother that doesn't find anything good, it was impossible to impress her or to feel like she had done enough. She always walked on eggshells around her because you never knew when she would explode. My mother-in-law pushed everyone away from her life. My fiance still goes to a psychologist because of that and in the past had similar traits. Luckily, she has healed somewhat and it does not affect our relationship as much. Talking with my mother-in-law, we tried to talk to her in the past, but she thinks we are attacking her or that we are against her, and she goes fully defensive. She starts crying and shouting. She's 100% sure she has no problems, and we're just making up lies about her. All that, how dare you? I raised you. You have no right to tell these things to me stuff. Once in the past, my father-in-law called a professional to their home to try to talk to her. After 3 sessions, the psychiatrist said that she is a person who will never heal because she's incapable of accepting her faults. Dang.
Whoa, dude.
Dang. When the psychiatrist says you're a lost cause.
Seems like not enough time to
Also
give
seems
that.
like a bad psychiatrist.
Yeah.
That seems like a terrible psychiatrist.
They're just like, I can't help them. They're beyond help.
Beyond help. She's the hardest case I've ever seen. He couldn't diagnose her problems because she has more than one.
Yeah, this guy is not.
It's like, I don't know. She has a lot of problems. I can't pick.
Yeah, I'm diagnosing her as difficult.
She's too hard. But he said that my mother-in-law is otherwise sane, just very damaged. You're useless, dude. You're useless. This was 15 years ago. Maybe today's psychology is more developed. Absolutely. I would hope so. Or maybe that guy was trash and could manage to help her. But until she accepts that she needs help, there's nothing we can do. And there is a second update. But do you have any thoughts?
Well, 15 years ago is like what, 2006?
No.
That's 19 years ago.
Yeah, it's 2010-ish.
That's a really easy one. I
Quick
just messed
math,
up.
bro. Quick math, my
like
guy.
I was trying to make it
2025
line
minus
up with
15.
the timeline of The Sopranos so that it would
Yeah.
be like the psychologist that he saw.
No, it's
But it's
2010.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I feel like things have progressed.
I got nothing to say to this guy.
Yeah. Update 2. I, 26 male, and my fiance, 28 female, are staying at my mother-in-law's 57 female house for a couple of weeks. Little to say that after a couple of days of being her best, she started to make our stay here a living hell. She's always complaining, always angry, and criticizing anything we do. We wanted to make her a nice meal that other day. Our hobby is cooking. She already ate that food made by us when she was visiting us, and she loved it. We made the exact same food, and she started complaining that it tasted weird and that she better order food for herself. Anyways, because she came up with the idea that she's too busy to cook, we should cook the next meal, but only the way she asks us to. I started cooking and she gave very strict orders, micromanaging everything. She clearly has time for that. The funny thing was that she said this is the way a real name of the food is made. But believe me, the stuff she put in it, I've never heard anyone cook it like this.
She's like, first you put in the
What is
tail
she
of
making?
newt. Or is it the eye of newt?
I have newt.
Sorry.
Come
I'm getting my
on.
recipes mixed up.
No, it was you.
years, messing up his recipes.
Yeah. At one point, she gave me a jar of pig lard and told me that I should put it in the dish to add more fatty taste. When I opened the jar, a very rancid smell hit me. I realized that the lard had gone bad, but decided to go with it, and I put it in the meal.
No,
What?
why would you do
What?
that?
You dumb idiot.
What?
I don't feel bad for them.
I realized the lard was rancid.
I realized
But
it
I
was
put it
rancid,
upon
but
the
she
food.
told me to do it, so I had to do it. No, you didn't.
It's like the.
No, you
the
didn't.
whole,
You
like,
dumb
I
dumb.
was just following orders.
You dumb dumb. You're dumb.
I was just following the chain of command.
Orders are orders.
Oh my God.
Not when you. After the food was ready, I quickly told my fiance, who knew about this and thought that this is a very good revenge.
Revenge is the best dish served.
I'm sorry,
with
putting
expired
rancid
lard.
food in someone's dish.
You realize that botulism can
Yeah, that's
kill
like
people, right?
that's like deadly. You
you're-
could give her like a very
What are you
severe.
doing?
What?
Everyone in this story is annoying and bad.
Everyone's here. And we went out to eat our lunch in a restaurant. By the way, you can eat with us
Without
while you watch
rancid
full
pig lard.
episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. But there is a little bit left to this story. Honestly, I hate everyone in this story.
Yeah, there's no
Just,
good guy here.
I don't know, leave. Like, you
There's-
guys are like, oh, well, it would be better to pay rent than stay here than do that. Leave.
Yeah, stop it.
Stop. Like,
Stop.
it seems like you have the money to do that because that was the original plan, but you're like, oh, now we're saving money. Go.
I'm all for saving money,
Stop
but
trying to poison people.
don't poison people with rancid pig lard.
When we came back, my mother-in-law was furious and said that her meal is inedible. What did I put into it? I said absolutely only what she asked me to. She was there to witness. I took a spoonful and it was absolutely disgusting.
You took a spoonful of your own poisonous lard meal?
Opie's an idiot, bro.
You're
my
so,
God.
He's like, let me check if it's disgusting. It's terrible.
Ooh, so
it's
gross.
rancid.
Tastes like a rancid lard. Wow.
You're stupid. Then I used a reverse Uno card and started complaining about the dish she told me to make, that it tastes weird and that I know how to cook better meals. Her face said it all. I hope she won't complain about our cooking anymore. Edit, the food was goulash, if you were wondering.
Oh, love goulash.
And that's
But
the
not
end
with-
of that story.
My girlfriend never came home after a night out. I think she's lying about where she was.
Or she might not be your girl.
My girlfriend is unemployed and occasionally goes out on weeknights with her girlfriends in a major city by me. We've been dating 4.5 years and living together for 4 of them. Whoa, a lot of red flags at the top of the story. That's great. By the way, this comes from user throwaway453am. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Her email alerts come through on our shared iPad, and I saw that she took an Uber ride. And it looks like she dropped her friends off as well because the Uber route passes their homes. She was dropped off outside my apartment at 2 a.m. I received the alert afterward and became suspicious. I can use Find My iPhone on our iPad, and I can see that her phone is close by, about 4 blocks away, on the same street. Uber says she was dropped off here. Where I live, it's all dense apartments, and I can't just walk over there to see what's up. It's likely there are several apartments in the building where the GPS says she is, and the GPS could also be off by a building or two on either, say, front or back. I'm freaking out. I've called and texted beginning at 4:45 a.m. with no reply.
Sorry, bro. She's busy right now.
Can't come to the phone. Can't come home.
I've called each of her girlfriends twice and no one has picked up. I'm so worried. Is she okay? Is she cheating? Seriously, guys, any advice right now would be really helpful to me. My heart is beating out of my chest. Do I call her more? Do I wait? Do I call the police? Major update. Her friend just called. She said she spent the night with her. This is a clear-cut lie. I'm getting off Reddit for a bit, but we'll update after we speak. I'm doing my best to be composed right now. Wish me luck. So, update. This is insane. Her friend called me and said that they all stayed at the friend's apartment, and Uber and iCloud tell me that's a lie. So I asked to speak with my girlfriend and was told, oh, she just left. So I called her phone and she did not pick up. I'm watching iCloud. The phone has not moved. I think her friends just nailed her coffin shut. In any case, coming from the friend's apartment, she can only come from 2 directions. The place where iCloud says she is in a different direction. When I see her start to move, I'm going to wait outside around the corner and catch her walking back from an impossible direction based on the story she's going to try to sell me. Her friend called me at 9 a.m. and sounded frantic. Oh my God, your girlfriend came back to my place last night and just fell asleep. We both got really wasted. So sorry that no one called or texted you. But I knew this was a lie. Because this friend's apartment is nowhere near the apartment 4 blocks up the road from me. I have no idea whose apartment this is. I said that's okay and asked to speak to my girlfriend, but was told I couldn't because she just left. Typically, it should take about 20 minutes to get from friend's apartment to my apartment. More than an hour goes by and still no girlfriend. I decided to call her, and I could hear that beep at the end of the ringtone, signaling me that she's on the other line with someone. I watched her on Find My iPhone leave the mystery apartment, stop on a street corner for about 15 minutes, then proceed to walk a different route. What she was doing was buying some groceries.
It wasn't groceries, I'll tell you that.
Sounds like a plan.
It's a plan to deceive, a conspiracy of the highest order.
She's probably also getting OP, like, some snacks. Like, oh, I got you breakfast. I love you. Here's a coffee.
Imagine she's actually getting breakfast for the other guy.
That's what she's doing.
She's been living with this guy for 4 years and she's doing this to him. She's got no job. Doesn't sound like she's trying to get one. So when she finally did walk in at 10:15 in the morning, her excuse was, sorry, the shuttle was super slow today. Plus, I stopped to get some fresh fruit. No apology, no nothing. She's acting like I'm a psychopath for caring where she had been all night, even though it's uncharacteristic for her to stay out all night. In fact, she usually calls or texts me when she's on her way home from the city. Okay, so we go inside and I say, why don't you tell me about your night? She goes, oh, we just went to the club. That's it. In the club, we all cheat. That's her motto right there. I asked if they stayed there all night. She told me that she stayed there pretty late. This is another lie. Uber says she was picked up at the club at 1:50 a.m. and the clubs here close at 4. On a typical night, she'll come home between 3 and 4 a.m., so I ask if they went anywhere else. Nope, we're pretty wasted, so we went straight from the club to my friend's apartment. When I got there, I passed out on the couch. This makes absolutely no sense because the Uber receipt clearly states that she was dropped off at my apartment. At this point, I say to her, are you sure you're telling me everything? And she gets heated. F you. I already have a father and an overprotective brother. Why the F can't I just go out with my friends for one night without you all over my butt about it? Side note, she goes out with her friends alone 2 to 3 nights a week, and I let that happen. It's not like she doesn't constantly go out with them. I was going to pause really quickly to be like, OP, this is kind of your fault because you have been dating this girl. I don't know how long she's been employed, but you've been living with her for 4 years. Okay. Her not having a job, her not having any responsibilities, at some point you have enabled that behavior to continue.
You have enabled it. I think he's in the clear now. Also, she's going out on weekdays. You can't be going out on weekdays all the time. Do we know how old they are?
I don't think we have ages. I would assume this is 20s, early 20s.
Early 20s. He doesn't know any better. This is how all relationships are to him.
Because they've been together 4.5 years. They've been living together for 4 of those years. So they moved in after 6 months of dating. I mean, that sounds like young, early 20s activities, honestly. So we're getting into some confrontation here, I think. At this point, I tell her about the Uber ride receipt and show her screenshots of the Find My iPhone application. I show her a journal of the things I attempted to do to get in touch with her and explained how worried I was. Her response was, F you. Why the F are you accusing me of this crap? I constantly try to tag myself on Facebook and it shows up as the wrong location. My phone is all effed up anyway. I'm not lying. I went right to friend's apartment. Okay, so why does Uber have confirmation that you were dropped off here? And this is where the story breaks apart. Well, we dropped all the girls off at the apartment first, and then Uber took me here, but I couldn't find the apartment keys anywhere, so rather than calling you and waking you up or ringing the buzzer, I decided to just walk to friend's apartment, which is bull dookie.
Why is she making it more complicated.
Let's see how big this lie can get.
These people don't read like their matches whatsoever. This guy's like, I have a journal of the things I attempted to do to reach out to you, and clearly is responsible enough to provide enough for both of them to live there. And she is going out to the clubs on a weekday, cheating on her man with terrible excuses. There is a disparity. So she was in a simple club outfit with no jacket. It was 14 degrees last night. The streets and sidewalks here are literally sheets of ice. There's no way she walked for 35 minutes at 2 a.m. in 6-inch heels in those conditions through the ghetto in 13 degrees. No chance. She tells me I'm an a-hole and need to believe her. She tells me she's telling the truth. She even says, check my phone. And miraculously, there's no call log of whoever she was speaking with from around 9:45 when I tried calling. And there's a full text convo of her speaking with her friend about how they spent the night at friend's apartment.
Then you had the wrong number.
Well, clearly, with this completely not manufactured evidence, I must forgive you. There's no other explanation. I literally had your location. Do you not know how locations work? Mind you, these texts are all sent during the time period where I see her on Find My iPhone, leaving the apartment to hang out on a random corner. These girls were straight plotting. So I calmly told her that I'm not buying it and that I'm ending the relationship immediately. Yes, I packed a large bag in front of her with my clothing and laptop and am leaving within the next half hour. She's basically pretending this isn't happening. She's acting cool about it. She's just saying in a normal speaking voice, well, if this is what you want to do, I won't stop you. So that's that. I think she thinks I'm going to flip at the last moment and stay. I think that she thinks she can push the limits and win. I'm not wrong, right? No, you are not wrong. You are doing the exact right thing. If Find My iPhone says you're up the block, don't tell me you stayed a 10-minute car ride away. The GPS is not inaccurate. This is effing reliable science. I don't know what will happen to me from here on out. I've got a 6-month expensive gym membership I need to deal with. We had a mountain trip and Florida trip planned within the next 30 days, plus all of our friends overlap. In any case, I don't know if she cheated, but I'm 99.999% certain that she stayed somewhere else and is actively trying to cover it up. I think that might be some coping mechanism. What do you think that, I mean, clearly, I know what I think. Riley, what happened that night?
We know what happened. If you really want to get some more information, we'll see how loyal your friends are. If this isn't enough evidence for me, which it already is, I would go and bribe. I'd try and get some information. Be like, hey, like, I was really worried about, my girlfriend. Can you kind of like tell me what happened? Because like also some other stuff has not been working out really well. I don't know. I would figure out a story where the girlfriend maybe might be doing something mean to one of the girlfriends. Like, yeah, I saw that she had like these certain type of shoes at her house and they weren't really hers. And then that person's like, I'm missing a pair of shoes. Or like, oh yeah, I have this dress. It's like, I'm missing this dress.
First, you have to take the shoes. Then you have to pin it on the girlfriend. There's a couple of layers there. But you know what the good news is that you can just move right on along. She's actually trying to place blame on me for being possessive. I was called a psycho and a stalker. And she's acting like it doesn't even matter if I leave. F this. I'm out. Nice. And by the way, we never want you to say F this to us because you can constantly listen to full episodes with stories like this. All you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from, and just search OK Storytime. And then you can have 48 days worth of consecutive podcast content. 24 times 48 hours at the least. So we do have a little bit more story left. Honestly, I think he's got the right mentality here.
Get out of there, dude. Enjoy your friend. I know you got some trips coming up. Make the most out of it.
Go on those trips. I mean, if they're not like, like built for romance, take somebody else. This person was not the right one for you anyway. You need someone who is thoughtful. This really started with OP being worried. OP was like concerned, like my girlfriend didn't come home. And then it just devolved into, oh God, it's this. If you've got any criticism or kind words for me as I start my new life, please comment. I'll come back on once I get to my parents' house later this afternoon. My plan is to live there until I can figure out new living accommodations. Finally, thank you all for the advice and tremendous amount of support this morning. I was in a really bad place and don't know what I would have done without r/relationships. I feel like I was having a panic attack. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. And that is the end of that story. Honestly, get tested. Who knows how long she's been cheating on you? This might just be the first time that you caught her. You never know. You already have the conviction to just move forward, which is what you need. And I think the reason she might be so cool about this, where it's like, you know, because she's kind of in hobo mode right now, she's probably thinking, I can just go to the guy I was with last night. I'll just go to his place. She might be thinking that. Who knows? But you don't have to think about her anymore because that's over. Just like this story.
My wife cheated and my baby's not mine. That's okay. But my mom's starting to ask questions and I'm terrified of what's next. Man, I ain't gonna lie. Raising another person's child, thinking that it was gonna be yours, would not be fun. Let's read the dang story. I, 30 male, and I'm in a relationship with my wife, 29 female, and we've been together for 8 years, but we grew up together and we were friends from elementary school. Wow, long relationship. I also have 2 children, 4 female, who we can call Chloe, fake name, and a baby boy that's 5 months old. Around 5.5 years ago, one of our best friends had passed away from cancer. We had known him since we were 9, so this hit us both hard. During this time, we argued a lot and we spent time away from each other, but eventually figured things out and realized we were better together. Maybe 2 weeks after we got back together, she told me that during our time apart, she was with another man who happened to be someone we both were friends with in high school, who we can call Jonah for the sake of the story. Now, it was a bit upsetting at first, but after some discussion, we were able to accept it and move on. Another 2 weeks or so passed by, and we find out that she is pregnant. Oh, see, tangled love, tangled cords, guys. Everything is tangled. We are in an entangled situation. Oh, God. You know, they say you only need one time. That's what they say. And ladies and gentlemen, oh boy. I know Ava isn't mine. I've known from the start and have accepted that fact, but I love her. She is my daughter and nothing will change that. You know what? Shout out to OP. At least there was some upfront honesty here. And, I guess OP is okay with it and moves on. That's okay. Is that okay? I don't know. When I looked into my daughter's eyes for the first time, it was heartbreaking to see the face of a man that I considered my friend for all of those years. But I didn't tell anyone, not even my wife, until Ava was 2 years old. Okay, so I guess so far he knows about the cheating. She got pregnant and he basically put 2 and 2 together, but they haven't actually discussed it up until she's 2. So like almost 3 years pretty much removed from that time, I guess. When I confronted her about it, she admitted that was her fear because Ava honestly looks like a carbon copy of Jonah. She asked if I wanted a paternity test and I denied because I am really scared I could lose legal rights of my baby girl. The past 4 years, she's been my girl. I love her more than words can describe, and I got over that heartbreak so quickly. I love her and my son equally. But here are where the issues start. Gotta love the issues. Ever since my son was born, my family have started to question my daughter's biology as my son looks just like my wife and whereas my daughter looks like nothing of either of us. My mom recently came up to me and said, I need to do a paternity test for Ava as I can't have my boy raising a baby that isn't his. This really upset me, but I kept my cool and told my mom that Ava is my daughter. I never told her in the first place because she treats my sister's stepson like crap and I don't want my girl to be treated like that. This mom sounds terrible. I totally get her being upset that the child isn't his because in her mind, if I'm thinking through it all correctly and I'm mathing the math, she would think, oh, the wife has lied to you and is making you raise a child that isn't yours, which is something very much that is okay to be upset about, to be clear. I don't know. I'm some bad vibes, some bad juju is what I'm sniffing out. Well, my mom was committed to this and went to my wife and managed to trick her into telling the truth. She came back over to me and yelled at me for raising an illegitimate child. Okay, so like real question, like what do you do if you're like your child's an adult? Like what are you gonna be like, son, you need to go to your room raising a child that isn't yours. No more TV time after 9 p.m. Like, what? I mean, what are you doing? Like, I get being concerned, wanting to be like, hey, let's this is not a good situation for you. I want the best for you. I don't want you in a terrible life setup like this could be, fathering a child that you didn't know is yours. But like, what are you really gonna do to this guy? Like, what can you possibly do? He's like 30 years old. He's a grown ass man with children. Come on now. We left the situation fast, but my mom hasn't stopped texting me about how I lied for 4 years and that my wife is a cheater. Mom's going off right now. I explained to everyone after in a calm way that my wife didn't cheat and just went into a bit more depth. While my other family besides my mom don't care that she isn't mine, they are upset at me for keeping this information away for so long. But I personally think it was none of their business in the first place, as my own daughter doesn't even know. So am I the a-hole? Is this what the family is mad about? It's just like, look, ultimately, this business is between OP's wife, and the children. Those are the people that are involved in this situation, right? The other family, freaking cuzzy Billy Bob Joe, like, what does he have to do with this? Like, I don't understand being mad that they didn't tell you. I mean, they are family, and depending on their dynamic, yeah, maybe they're involved to the point to where that information could be useful in terms of navigating that relationship, I guess. But ultimately, like, I'm just kind of like, why is it? I don't know why you're mad. I think that's my main thing. Like, maybe it's more debatable on whether or not they should know, but like, being able to choose on your own terms when that happens, or it's just happening when it happens. Like, I don't know. Like, I just like, and it also really depends too on what your dynamic is like with your family outside of your like your extended family. Because if you got like terrible extended family, like the mom, I don't know. The mom just give me bad vibes over here. I don't know. That's just me. Let's keep going. Edit. So I said Chloe at the top, but continue to use my daughter's real name. Yikes. I am an idiot, but I still don't think it's enough to give away our family identity. So it's okay. Sorry about that, new to Reddit. I guess we'll see. Edit number 2. So no, Jonah has no idea about her. Okay. Oh man, oh boy. I don't know. He's not safe. He has a child himself who I saw on his cousin's Facebook. Jonah blocked us after my wife and I got back together, but he lived in my town for another 3 years, so I heard news on him. Due to these subs rules, I can't say what, but he is a very bad man from what I know, hence why our friendship broke. He did stuff which should have him away for life, but he isn't. Oh my God, what is it? He said stuff about children, which absolutely deserves jail time for life. Yikes. Oh my God. I fear for his child, but I'm not putting my daughter in a situation where she could be badly hurt. I've tried to keep it low key in my post and comments about him, but it's not possible to do this anymore, as I would just seem like a selfish a-hole if I don't explain. It's all for my daughter's safety. Wow. I'm honestly very curious from all of your take. I mean, it looks like this guy could be, doing things, if you catch my drift, things that YouTube would not like me to share with children, possibly. I mean, if that's the case, yeah, that definitely is good context to understand. It sounds very, 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 very bad. Definitely let me know in the comments if you have any thoughts on all of that, because that is a insane scenario to be in. All right, y'all. On to a very, very big update. My kid is 4, young. If you need to read my other posts, you will see that she isn't my biological daughter. She's my ex-best friend's, but I've loved her since day one and nothing will change that. My family had an issue with this, but I cut them off. I know in my other post I said no one cared about it, but it turned into a bigger deal because of my mom. I told you I smelled bad juju. The only people I've kept in contact with is my sister, one of them. She has always supported me ever since she found out about Ava's biology, and she hasn't cared and still loves my daughter the same as she loves my son. Thing is, my kids stayed the night. Halfway during my kid's time there, I get a text from my sister saying that my mom is there. She showed up unexpectedly. My mom knows I don't want her around my kids, so I drive to collect my kids and thank my sister for telling me. When I get there, I find my sister angry and holding my sobbing daughter. My son is in my mother's lap. I leave without sparing a look at my mother apart from when I took my son from her. When we got home, my daughter was still crying. I picked her up and cuddled her super close and asked what happened. She looked at me in the eyes and said, Grandma says you're not my real daddy. I want you to be my real daddy. I don't want you to love baby brother more than me. Oh my God. Oh my God. I see very clearly why OP cut the mom out of his life. And I see why he doesn't want to associate with the people that his mom has like turned against him. What? She's 4. She is 4 years old. What the actual Oh my God. Oh my God. So I'm peaking on these levels right now, but what? I think at this point, lying would do her more harm in the future. So I sat her down and explained that I am her real daddy because I loved her and I raised her. I just didn't help make her. She was confused and asked if I made her baby brother. I didn't lie and said yes. I also explained how I love them both equally. And the fact that I did make her does not change that. I hated seeing her little heart break, but lying more would have hurt her more. She clings to things. Information. Now, every night at bed, she asks, Daddy, do you still love me like you love baby brother's name, right? Oh my God, guys, my heart is dissolving and falling through my body, and it's gonna piss out of my booty hole into a toilet of sadness, flushing away all the happiness. Oh my God. Jeez. It's like she's scared I don't love her the same because my mom said I love my son more because he's mine. Oh my God. I love her just as much as I love him. I don't come on Reddit much, but I'm just really lost here. I know me telling her the truth would save a lot of future trust issues and stuff, but it breaks me that she thinks I don't love her the same as my baby. The plan was to tell her when she's older, but she's at the age now where there's still a chance that she will remember this. Edit. I want to add that bio dad doesn't know he's a dangerous man and I wouldn't ever trust her around my kid. He would try to get custody and neither my wife or I trust him around our daughter. She needs to be protected and I was under the impression that she was mine, but I knew from day one that she wasn't. I confronted my wife when my kid was 2. Extra info, feel free to ask for questions. Edit number 2, if you really think the bio dad should know, PM me and I will tell you why he shouldn't be able to get near her. I'm not going to say it here because it seems like too much for Reddit. If that's your issue, then just speak directly with me. Oh man, guys, I don't know how much more my heart can take. I'm at the brink, but there is another update, which actually I think has some happiness. So let's read it. So we had some amazing suggestions, and I want to thank everyone who offered good advice for me and my little girl. We used the idea of Legos and building blocks. She had favorite bunny Teddy that she sleeps with all the time, literally all day, every day. We see that Teddy. So what I did was sat down on a mat and we had a daddy-daughter challenge thing. She got me to make a structure of her mommy and I got her to make one of her bunny. By the end of it, she made her bunny. So now I put up in front of her the Teddy bunny and the Lego bunny. I asked her which one she loved more, and she said obviously her Teddy bunny. And I asked her why, and she said because it's my bunny and I had it for forever. So I made it a point to say that the bunny is like her. I've loved her forever and that she's so special to me, that I love her so much that she couldn't be replaced even though I didn't make her. Just because she didn't make the bunny doesn't mean that she doesn't love it. I did use a similar example, but in a different way to explain her about her baby brother, by the way. It satisfied her and she is happy with that example. We use the term now, I love you like you love bunny. Obviously it's a silly little term, but it helps her understand it so much better. Oh man. Oh wow. That was a great suggestion. Honestly, shout out to whoever did that. That is, my heart like hurts, but it's also healing at the same time. It's like my heart is scabbing over right now. I think that's the best way I could possibly describe this emotion that I'm feeling right now. But my God, you know what? Okay, so breaking it all the way down, shout out to mother OP, okay? This man took in this child, loved it like his own, defended her so much, kept her away from all of this BS and, against, the family and other people online commenting, I truly believe that he has her best interest at heart and will do whatever he can to protect her. I'm just so glad that he was able to find a way to communicate that to her. Just absolutely brilliant, so adorable, so beautiful. I'm glad we had at least this happy note to end on. I'm curious from anyone who maybe went through adoption or any situation of dealing with non-biological parents. We would love to hear your stories as well. Please share your thoughts on this one in the comments below, and any of your stories in the comments below. We would love to hear from you all. This has been a crazy ride of paternity mystery extravaganzas, but guys, I love you like OP loves his freaking daughter, and I will see you next time.